What's going on, guys? And welcome to episode 200 of the Tastecast, our weekly podcast where we talk about all things gaming. Joining me today is Chevy in the bottom right corner. Top right, we got Josh. Top left, we got Cody. And I'm Seth, of course. And today we'll be discussing our game of the year for 2023. A lot of games came out last year, and it's going to be a tough one, but we're going to have this conversation. Also, we do a two runner-up system as well because it's always so hard to pick the best game of the year. So we try to give some credit to some games that almost made that as well. People can do it however they want. They can pick whatever they want as long as it's not like a small DLC. Expansions count. Big DLCs to a certain extent I think will count, but we'll get into that. And we're going to overall just kind of celebrate 2023 in gaming. Chevy, how you doing? You excited to have this conversation?
I'm more so curious to see what other people pick. Mine was pretty easy just because I only played so many games. There's a couple I missed this year, but otherwise should be good.
This was very hard for me because according to my Steam analytics, I played 112 games, something like that, just on Steam alone. And then I think 60% of those were new games or something like that. So yeah, I played way too many games, but obviously there was 10 of them that were worthy of thinking about this, but there's a lot to go through. So yeah, I'll be really curious to see what you guys pick as well. Josh, how you doing?
Pretty good. Pretty excited to get into this. I'm excited to see what everybody else's picks are and their runners up.
Same. Cody, you just had fun in traffic getting here, so hopefully you're in good spirits and ready to have this conversation. How you doing?
I had a lot of time to think about my picks, so I had just replaying them in my head. So I'm doing good. Other than that, ready to. I sat in traffic. I'm ready to sit here and talk about some games.
Perfect.
Something fun.
Yeah, something better than just hanging out in traffic.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so yeah, before we get into the larger discussion for Game of the Year, this is Tastecast. This is the first Tastecast of 2024, but also of this month. And with that, we're going to go through game releases, talking about the games coming out in January, games we're excited for, games we're not so excited for, and all of that. So I'll start the list real quick, starting with, and typically we put it on the screen, but because of this format, we're not going to do that. So I'm just going to read them and, just pay attention. January 11th, we got War Hospital coming out on PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. Then on January 18th, interesting, it starts at the 11th. January 18th, Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown on PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series, Switch, and PC, so everything. January 18th as well, we got Turnip Boy Robs a Bank. I've never even heard of that. Xbox One, Xbox Series, Switch, and PC. Then on the 19th, we got another Code Recollection on Switch. Then on the 19th as well, we got The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered coming out on PS5. Very controversial game there. January 25th, we got Apollo Justice Ace Attorney Trilogy on PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. Then on the 26th, we got Tekken 8 finally coming out on PS5, Xbox Series, and PC. Then on the 26th, same day, Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth coming out on PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series, PC. And then on the 30th, we have the Lost Legends of Redwall Scout Anthology, PS5, Xbox Series, PC. On the 30th as well, we got the Lost Legends, it's Redwall Feast and Friends on PC. So two of the Lost Legends of Redwall. It's something we're all just waiting for, coming out on PC. And then on my birthday, January 31st, we got Blaze Blue Entropy Effect on PC. Josh, what games in January are you looking forward to playing, and or none at all?
I'm looking forward to two of them, and that's Infinite Wealth, Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth, and Tekken 8. It's just unfortunate they both come out on the same fucking day.
Yeah, luckily they're not the same kind of game, but yeah, it's a little overwhelming.
Yeah, but it'll be nice to get back into that. I think I might try and play Like a Dragon again before I hop into it, just so I'm fresh.
I never beat it, so I need to beat it.
Ending made me cry, so
it
was pretty good. So
it's interesting to hear.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
Anything else? But other than that, No, half those games I didn't know what the fuck they were. So I don't know.
Especially this fucking Lost Legends of Redwall. We're getting 2 of those, and
That
one's
Turnip
coming
Boy
out
robbing
on
a bank
Xbox.
is-
Yeah, what's up with the turnip heist?
I don't
I
know.
want to play that game.
I'll have to look it up later, but yeah, that sounds fucking wild. Especially a kid named Turnip Boy. I'll look it up right now. Cody, any games calling out to you?
Tekken 8 for sure. Ready, to kind of follow suit with. I mean, I never got to play Mortal Kombat 1, but played a lot of Street Fighter 6. Kind of just ready to roll back, into another good fighting game. I'm ready for that. We played a bunch not too long ago, and kind of got me excited for that. So, yeah, Tekken 8 for sure.
Yeah.
I was also gonna, real quick. I was also gonna. They released like a picture of the full roster.
Oh, did
It's
they?
fucking huge.
Oh no shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's fucking huge.
Yeah, they're slowly kind of rolling those out, but I was wondering if we're ever going to see like the full thing. I'll have to look that up. Just throwing it out there. I can't put it up on the screen right now, but Turnip Boy Robs a Bank is like a top-down pixel cartoony looking game where you play as a turnip boy robbing a bank.
Makes sense.
So yeah,
Checks
it's
out.
very
Checks
very
out.
straightforward.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I don't know what I expected, but it's exactly that.
Yeah. I don't know if there's like a whole series either, but there's like a lot of Turnip Boy pictures and a lot of like almost looks like a plushie of him. So he might have like
I
a
want
whole
you to
fucking
know.
whole thing. Yeah, maybe. Anything else, Cody?
No, mostly Tekken 8. I mean, there'll probably be something in there that I'll end up playing, and then it'll pique my interest. But Tekken 8 is really the only thing that's on my radar.
Yeah, fair. Chevy.
I mean, the big one for me is going to be Like a Dragon. I don't know if I'm going to get a day one, though, because I still haven't beat the one before it. That being said, I am interested in it for sure. The trailer makes it look really fun. And then Tekken 8, I have a slight interest in, but I'm not the biggest Tekken fan. But I do enjoy fighting games, and I keep eyeballing, picking up a hitbox or a joystick without the actual joystick.
Oh yeah, you were showing me those.
Just the buttons.
Yeah,
Yeah, those are cool. Those
they're
are
a
cool.
little steep. So
Sure. Yeah.
How much are they?
Investment.
they're just shy of 300.
Oh yeah, that's a little high. I would say it was like 100 something. I think a lot of people probably say that's high, but for me, like it's a specialty item, so it makes sense. But going up towards 300 is quite a bit.
Yeah, I'm looking at 2 that are like customizable. That's why they're so much. So because you can like get new plates and stuff for them. So.
Oh,
Customized
cool.
would be cool though. Give
Did
some
you
options.
Did you think about getting the PlayStation?
The Razer one.
Yeah, like the disabled handicap controller. That weird disc.
Oh no.
Oh yeah, because those are like $115, and they're going to be fully customizable and stuff like that.
No, I'm looking at I can't remember the name of it, but it's like this real thin, like can fit in your pocket style one. And then there's another one that's a little bit thicker. It's got like actual like wrist / palm room on it, but it's like made of multiple layers of acrylic, and you can have them like customly done, so you can make like 3D images and stuff like that.
Damn.
Cool.
Yeah. Anything else, Chevy?
Nope.
All right. So the games I'm looking forward to the most, obviously Tekken 8. Really excited for that. Looks awesome. From what we've seen so far, character-wise, looks like it's a packed roster. I haven't seen the full thing. The whole AI system that they're adding to this game that will learn how people play, so you can play your friend even when they're not around, is fucking crazy. Really excited to see what that's like. And then the online hub looks awesome. Looks like they definitely took a similar inspiration that Street Fighter did in the way they're doing their hub. So I'm really excited about that. And then Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, I am 100% going to play at some point, but I have to beat the first one. This isn't a game I can just hop into and kind of piece together what happened in the first game, especially with what Josh is saying about the end of the game. I feel like there's some investment there emotionally that I should probably put in to really appreciate the series. So yeah, I am excited for that. I know it's controversial. but I am also very interested in The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered because
Oh.
I already own it. So for anybody who doesn't know, if you already own the game, it's like a $10 upgrade. So basically what you're doing is you're buying for $10 a graphical upgrade and a new game mode, which I think for $10 is fair. If you're buying the game brand new, remastered, it's probably the way you should be buying it in the first place. It's full price. People can discuss that as a separate topic. For me personally, it's a $10 upgrade. But I do want to try out the new mode. I think it sounds cool. It's like a roguelite or something like that. And the graphical upgrade, curious to see what they do with it. But for the conversation of, is it too early to be remastering a game that came out in, what, 2019?
2020.
2020? Yeah, it's for me, in my brain, it's a graphical upgrade. I think they should have called it that and not remastered. But I think it looks better to call it remastered next to the other game they already remastered as well. But
Yeah, of course.
basically what it is it's a paid upgrade. They should have said that. They should have called it The Last of Us Part 2 Definitive Edition. And I think people would be less upset with it.
Yeah, I just think they're trying to do the singularity because even like the box art for both of them,
Similar.
like they match now, and so it's just kind of, bringing them all to PS5. My only problem, but I think you're right. Like 2020, like it's like all right, that was a few years ago. And
Good.
And the first one I can understand because that was 2013. So
Yeah.
10
10 years is fine to me. Yeah. Yeah, people got upset with that one too, but I'm like, that's 2 generations ago. That's fine. It's harder to tell because the graphics have slowly evolved as opposed to the huge jumps of like Genesis to PlayStation to PS2. It does feel like, it was just yesterday that game came out, but it's been a while, 10 years. But yeah, this, if we're having a discussion on should they be remastering a game from a couple of years ago, I don't think so. I mean, that's kind of ridiculous, but what are they actually doing? They're upgrading the graphics and they're adding a new mode, which is new content. And that new content took time, took effort, cost money for them to do. They need to make the money back. So I understand that. So I think the wording is unfortunate, but again, like you were saying, it needs to work with what they're doing now, what they did with the last remaster, and it'd be weird if they didn't call it the same thing. So it's bad branding, bad planning, but it's going to sell, so it doesn't matter. So, but I understand why people think it's, kind of shitty. I just think people think it's a little more devious than it actually is, but I think it's just bad branding, basically. I think it was kind of sloppy. So, yeah. I'm interested in that because I enjoyed playing The Last of Us Part 2. So, anything else from anybody? No?
Nobody wants to play BlazBlue?
Is it a fighting game?
It is.
Yeah, BlazBlue is the Guilty Gear.
No, I know
BlazBlue.
Yeah. I know BlazBlue, but this one has like a weird name, so I didn't know if it was like a fighting game or some kind of like weird fucking side game or something like that. I know nothing about it, so
it might be just like a direct sequel, but I'm pretty excited about that one too. I guess there's the last one came out a while ago, a couple years ago.
Yeah, they recently redid the netcode, so now it has rollback. But
kind of a bad month for it to come out though, next to Tekken 8, because it's a high-profile fighting game.
They're just like, fuck it, do it,
I guess so. But they have a dedicated fan base that's not going to be stopped by Tekken 8. So.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So, yeah. Well, anyway, let us know in the comments what games are you guys excited for in January. Anything that wasn't on that list you want to mention, like some indie games, something like that. And if there's any errors, take it up with thegamer.com. I didn't make that fucking list. And yeah, all right, let's jump over to what we've been playing, and we can start with Josh. What games have you been playing?
I've been playing a lot of Skyrim. Recently started.
True.
I don't know, because this is more of a disappointment for Game of the Year, I guess, but after playing Starfield, I kind of wanted to go back and see what was missing from Starfield. This is my own personal opinion. Don't fucking come at me with the pitchforks. I don't give a shit. But what was missing from Starfield that the other Bethesda games have? And I'm going to be honest, it's the journey. Like, whenever I set a waypoint in Skyrim, half the fun of it is getting to that waypoint, because who knows what the hell you're going to find. There's a lot of random shit that happens. And Starfield was just waypoint to waypoint.
That's a really good point.
with fucking empty planet and a lot of times you're on like an empty moon, and there's like, all right, there's rocks and minerals. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But
there's no journey to
there
that moon. You just teleport there.
Yeah. And then so it just felt like every just new blip that I was getting was just kind of felt unearned. Like there was nothing there like, oh man, I finally got to that city, or I finally got to that town. Like, the journey was crazy. And I think that's why, like, to this day, there's still people that talk about stories in Skyrim and Fallout, like
exactly.
legitimate stories that they're like, yeah, this happened today. Seth and I just playing the Skyrim Together Reborn mod today, which is multiplayer Skyrim.
Up to 24 player.
We already have a litany of stories to tell.
Yep.
Just from playing it for 4 or 5 hours. Like, there's a huge difference. So, and co-op games breed stories anyway, but they were Skyrim stories. So it was something that would have happened whether we were playing together or not anyway.
And an interesting mix between the sandbox of Skyrim, the weird problems of a Bethesda game, added with the janky, bizarre, dreamlike problems that the mod added. Like you jumping on my horse after I just bought it, and my character split into this like symbiote like venom suit around you while you rode my horse. Then when he got off, my horse had a life of its own and I couldn't control anything, and I was stuck on it.
Dude, that's horrifying.
It was fucking bizarre.
Yeah, you look like a eldritch figure.
Yeah,
and
it was like really creepy looking, and also like what's his name, Alduin, the boss dragon.
Yeah, Alduin showed up.
Yeah,
there's a scene. It's the game's old, so it's a spoiler alert, I guess. But the part where they just resurrect him from the bones or whatever, and he flies off and leaves you to fight fucking asshole. We beat asshole, and then as soon as we beat him, the chick comes up to me, she talks to me, and then we take like 2 steps away from the area after the fight, and I like foosed our daughter into a fucking rock. And then when she got back up, all of a sudden fucking Alduin comes flying in, the sky goes crazy, and he starts just beating her ass in front of me. And like, I haven't played Skyrim since it originally came out, basically. So I'm like, I don't remember him showing up here, but oh well. And I start like shooting him, and Josh, like a good like 15 seconds after this is all happening, is just like, what's Alduin doing here? I was just like, I think you're right. I don't think he's supposed to be here. And he was just going nuts, fucking fighting everybody. And like, he would go to leave, he'd come back and start fighting us again, go to leave, come back, recharge his health. And then like we ran, because we're like, I don't think he can die. Yeah. And he starts burning the town down. I'm like, why is this happening? And I assume it's the mod. Really weird shit happening.
Yeah, it was
take the
out
good
of
with the
control,
bad.
because I was telling Seth, I was like, don't you fucking fight him in Sovereign Guard? Like, we're like not at this part anymore, but we're just chipping away at his fucking health, and he's cooking us alive.
Yeah, he was cooking us.
It's just ridiculous. So yeah, so Skyrim, I mean, shoot. I mean, for the past couple of weeks, pretty much just been Skyrim.
I'm gonna be real with you, dude.
I'm
gonna be fucking real with you. When I just humored and randomly had an epiphany yesterday to buy Skyrim in 2024 for $40 to play that mod, I checked and it was like you had been playing recently for like 20 something hours. So you've apparently been playing Skyrim for sure. So,
well, yeah, I've been on vacation all last week, so
nice.
I put in some hours into Baldur's Gate, put a little bit more RoboCop.
Did you beat RoboCop?
I am getting close to the last level, I think. But no, I didn't. And then Baldur's Gate, RoboCop, Skyrim, a little bit of Fallout 4, still doing my Starfield experiment, and then God, that's about it.
You mean fucking adding ammunition to your fucking complaints of Starfield? Your Starfield experiment? You're like, I'm doing an experiment, and you're just like, this game ain't as good.
I'm doing some research to put out an article.
Scientist.
Which is wild, because when I played Starfield, I beat it. I wasn't bored. It wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. But playing Skyrim, which anybody who watches the channel regularly knows, like I'm not the biggest Skyrim fan. Like I think it's fine as well, but like playing Starfield, a game I thought was fine, and then going back and playing Skyrim, I'm like, I feel like they cared about Skyrim more than they cared about Starfield. It feels just a little more hands-on. It feels a little more designed. It feels a little more like they cared at the time. And I think I just have gotten to the point where Bethesda's just released so many games now. They're just more of the same, more of the same, more of the same. Right. This is our structure. This is how we make games. That going back to one of the first games that started feeling like that, which is Skyrim, you like it's like going back in time a bit and going like, oh yeah, this is where they didn't care still, but they cared a little bit more back then than they do now. So it made me appreciate Skyrim a little bit more, which was weird.
Yeah.
And I just realized I was reading something that they actually instituted AI with Morrowind, but like Morrowind, like they put in all the AI put in all the trees and stuff like that for Morrowind for the map.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, a lot of that was AI generated, but then then they went over it by hand and kind of like smoothed out the rough edges. And even with Skyrim and even pieces of Starfield, you can almost tell that they kind of did the same thing with AI, but then they just didn't take that care to kind of massage it into something better. And
yeah, when you're mass producing a lot of content, though, I mean, look at Ubisoft. It's easy to just kind of like throw down generic landscape, probably mold it a little bit to, this will be where the ocean's at, this is where the mountains are, blah, blah, blah. And then go like, okay, well, this area we need trees. We got a random algorithm that spawns trees in random ways. Boom, 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 boom. And then you go through and go, okay, well, this looks kind of weird. Let's fix that. So it's kind of surprising to hear Morrowind did that from how far ago that was when they made that. But I could see, finding ways, especially back then, it'd be harder to make a game like that. Because it's like newer, the idea of doing something that's newer. But yeah, as a shortcut, it would make sense to do something like that. But yeah, Starfield for sure feels like a lot of it, because they had to make so many fucking planets. You're probably going to take quite a bit of shortcuts when it comes to the design of those. Especially the buildings. I ran to the same fucking base like 5 times, 6 times in like 19 hours.
Yeah, those are about as cut and paste as the Eyelid ruins in Oblivion.
Yeah, that's fair.
Those were fucking horrendous.
I forgot, how repetitive those were. Oblivion was like visually phenomenal when it first came out, but like in a lot of cool systems. But like, when you look at it in retrospect, there's a lot of fucking repetition and a lot of like same bullshit over and over again. So, yeah.
But that's, been a busy couple weeks, so.
Yeah. I'll go next just because I can kind of piggyback off what you played. I also played Skyrim Together, which is the multiplayer mod for Skyrim. For anyone who's wondering, the last time I played Skyrim was when it came out, basically. Played it, beat it. I didn't return to it. I tried to return to it like years later because everybody's like, oh, the mods are great. The mods are great. I played it for like, I don't know, 30 minutes. I was like, I can't do this. And I just hopped out. And so this is my first time return to Skyrim since basically launch. And the game I remember a lot, but it almost feels like a new game again, because it's been so long since I played it. The reason I even picked it up is because on TikTok, a random video came up where I was watching like 4 people running around in there. And I was like, I wonder what that's like. Like, does that work well? So I did some research, watched some videos online, and like a year or 2 ago, people were making videos about how like it's a fully functioning mod. You can play the whole thing from beginning to end with a friend or a bunch of friends and all this shit. I'm like, well, it's got to be more refined since then. And there's a Skyrim Together Reborn is the new mod that we downloaded, and installation's kind of annoying, but pretty straightforward. There's some really good videos out there that can walk you through it, but me and Josh both did that and hopped in. You have to have, if you're curious about this, you have to have Skyrim Special Edition. You can't do the Anniversary Edition, you can't do the base game. You have to have Special Edition to do this, and so that's why I had to buy the game again. I already owned the original Skyrim, but I bought Special Edition, which is still $40, which is fucking crazy. And just after the winter sale, which would have been fucking real convenient. I wish I had this epiphany like a week ago. But yeah, anyway, so we played that. We put like 6 hours into it, 5 or 6 hours. It's pretty fun. It basically functions the exact same as Skyrim single player, except for you have somebody with you, whoever's hosting or is hosting the party. It's their story, so they get to pick all the decisions in the story. But other than that, everyone can do everything. Everything functions basically how it's supposed to. We ran into a weird thing where when you rest or wait, what would typically allow you to do up to 24 hours waiting, you can do 24 minutes, which was fucking bizarre. So like we had like 3 hours to burn, and we were like skipping through 24 minutes, 24 minutes, 24 minutes, which felt really fucking stupid. Also, the loot is not instanced like modern games, so play with somebody that you can trust to try to hook you up with shit, because it can get a little handsy in there. I have to admit, because I'm used to playing that game solo, I would run up to something, start snatching shit. I'm like, oh wait, Josh needs things too. And
Borderlands style.
Huh?
Said Borderlands style.
Yep.
Old school Borderlands.
Exactly.
Every man for himself.
Yep. Which I'm not a big fan of, but it's interesting because this game was designed as a single player game and still is. So it's like, it's really weird to play it multiplayer. I'm really impressed though with how well this mod works. It feels like a multiplayer game. Like it's to the point where I'm like, Bethesda could do this. Like if these guys did it, Bethesda could do this easily. Like it feels better made than when Fallout 76 first launched. So yeah, they really did a good job. There's a couple bugs here or there, but like honestly, they add flavor. I'm laughing at most of the weird shit that happens. So it makes the whole experience more interesting. But I plan on playing that more. I'd like to maybe make a video on it or stream it or something, because it's just like so much random weird shit happening. It's like I feel like I need to share it with people because it's like so bizarre, some of the stuff happening. But also it's just like a pretty legit first person action RPG experience with a friend. I'm currently renting a server. What are you gonna say?
Oh, I was gonna say, can you use other mods on top of it? So it's just like
full mod support,
completely game breaking, and just that sounds like a lot of fun actually.
Yeah. Me and Josh are playing, and I was like, what mods could we download? I started looking through. I'm like, nah, I'll do this later. But like, as long as everybody has the same mods on the same server, they'll work. Yeah. So nice. I am curious how I'm curious how the tech is working, because there's one moment that was fucking bizarre where me and Josh were fighting what I knew was to be a bear. I fucking killed a bear in a shack, and we both killed it. We're like, okay, cool. And like I dragged it into the water, and it was just floating in the water dead. And then they had this like really beautiful somber music playing. It's like dusk, and it's just floating down the river slowly. And I'm like, man, that's like almost sad, like watching that bear float down the river. And Josh starts cracking up. I'm like, I don't understand. Like, it's kind of funny, but like, it's not that funny. And he's like, it's a fucking, what'd you say it was? Saber-tooth?
Saber-tooth cat.
You're like, it's a saber-tooth cat. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure that was a bear. Like, it looked like a fucking bear, roared like a bear. It said bear when I killed it. And I ran back to it in the water, and it said bear. It's like, search bear. I'm like, it's a fucking bear. And Josh is like, no, it's a saber tooth. And I'm like, what? And so he sent me a picture or a video, and on his screen it was a saber tooth running in place, just in the water. It's like running in place, but it was dead. And on my screen it was a dead bear ragdolled. And I was like, that's weird that it spawned two separate types of enemies for us to kill. It's really bizarre. But yeah, it's neat. Like I said, I'm renting a server for this for like 3 months, something like that. And it hosts up to 8 people, so that's kind of cool. But they have another server that hosts up to like 24 people, which I think would be crazy. Although that sounds more like PvP type shit to me, to have that many people, because you can do PvP.
That sounds fun too.
Which is fucked up because you get XP from it. And like when me and Josh first started, he had to do something, and I was just like hitting him, and I leveled up from it. I was like, damn, dude, I feel like there's an exploit here or something you could do. But but yeah, every once in a while we'll shoot each other, but we try not to kill each other. Although I launched Josh off of a waterfall with my fucking Fusro Da, and that was satisfying, but also made me feel like an asshole. At one point, Josh was like, Josh got me back by like launching me, but he didn't kill me. And, we're laughing forever. And then we're walking by Cliff. I'm like, you should have did it right here, dude. And he's like, yeah, I didn't want to kill you. And I was just like, oh. And he's like, we're not the same. I was like, okay. So yeah, good times. It's a lot more fun with people. So,
Right.
Yeah.
That sounds fun.
Yeah. So yeah, if you have the special edition, the mod installation is a process, but it's not hard. I have 2 pretty good videos on it too, if you're interested. So
Yeah, sweet.
yeah, it'd be interesting to see what it's like with more than 2 people. It's already like it feels like right. It feels like it should have been a multiplayer game the whole time while we're playing. So it's really weird.
I'm surprised they didn't do it sooner. I mean, I know you mentioned there was one before, but I'd heard about one a long time ago.
Yeah.
And then I was like, well, that would be crazy. But for some reason, I just was like, that would never work. Like, same thing with like a Fallout 3 mod with 2 people. Like, that just seems like it would just be game breaking and just wouldn't work.
That's why I looked into it. I looked into it because like I wonder if it's like super janky. Like some people can get it to work, but like what's the limitations? But the video I watched was like it's got full functionality. You level up, everything works. I'm just like, really? And so we're trying it. And outside of the weird quirks of like, saber-tooth cat and bear being the same thing, it's completely playable and it runs super smooth and like it works really well. They did a really good job on it. So definitely gonna keep playing that. Another game that has just devoured my fucking time lately has been the finals. I've just been playing the shit out of that game. For anybody curious when it comes to where I'm at and what I'm doing, I mostly play heavy. It's my favorite class. I'm rocking the the old like World War II, World War I LMG. I forgot what it's called. Yeah, the Lewis gun, rocket launcher,
badass.
Gas grenade, bubble shield, and I think I use the fire grenade as well, just because I like to use that all for defense. I think I'm like 65, 66 on the battle pass, which goes up to I think 90 something. So I'm getting there. And yeah, I feel like I'm doing pretty good in the game.
You have the roulette. You have the roulette thing. Yeah, that's badass.
Yeah, that one's awesome.
Skin.
I'm just getting into the alien stuff on the battle pass.
Oh, nice.
So
okay.
I'm getting close to the emote where your guy like starts floating into the air, like you're getting abducted.
I want that one.
Yeah, I'm like 4 away from that. So excited for that. And then I think the next tier I'll be able to unlock the alien outfit, which looks like shit, but I also really want it. So But yeah, I can't say enough good things about the finals. My only complaint about the finals is it's very monetization heavy for a lot of the stuff that they release. But they just released another pack with like I think it's called like the Black Swan or whatever. And it's basically the wedding dress that you get at the very end of the battle pass, but it's black and looks slightly different, I think. And then it has all sorts of stuff in the bundle. But I've been playing the game so regularly that I've spent money on the game already. So I'm okay with spending the money. But I feel like anybody who's just trying to play the game free, you can do it and you're gonna have fun with it, but it's not very friendly even with the battle pass. Like a lot of battle passes will have like every like 5 tiers or something a free thing. The first time you get something is like at level 13 or something, and it's really spaced out. So they really want you to spend money, which I get. They made this game, it looks really good, it plays really good. But yeah, I think if I have any complaint, it's that. Other than that, though, the game's fucking awesome. Like I love the game, and it's kind of sad. It's like definitely that and BattleBit Remaster are like the best shooters of 2023, and both in weird ways connected to Battlefield because people from DICE made the finals, and you can tell it's the talent of DICE that left. And then BattleBit Remastered was made because of Battlefield's inability to keep its fan base happy. So Battlefield kind of spawned 2 really good alternative shooters. So kind of weird. Let's see. I played Sengoku Dynasty, which if you don't know is made by the same people who make Medieval Dynasty. It's basically I think it's first person and third person, but it's like what do you call those games where you like grow farms?
Survival craft.
Yeah, survival craft. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's pretty neat. It's based in Japan, obviously, and you you forage for things, you cut down trees, you build stuff. Chevy's taking a nap. And it's pretty solid. I need to play it more. I bought it because I wanted to play the multiplayer, but overall it's pretty cool. I don't have a whole lot to say on it though, because I only played for like 2 hours, but it definitely has some potential.
It's a pretty bare bones.
It doesn't seem like it.
Okay, because I was like, Medieval Dynasty is pretty early access still, right?
Yeah.
No, Medieval Dynasty came out like 3 years before Sengoku Dynasty.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, the only reason I say yeah is because like I remember seeing Sarah playing Medieval Dynasty and I thought it looked really cool. She's talking it up, and I was like, "Does that have multiplayer?" And she's like, "Well, they're going to add it." I'm like, "I'll buy it then. I don't want to buy this.
Right. Okay.
Play it single player." And since then they've added multiplayer. I'd like to try that, but they've also released this game, and it feels like it plays better than Medieval Dynasty. So it seems like they've learned a lot from their last game with this game. So.
It does play 100% better.
Yeah, I think it felt better. So, but yeah, pretty cool. And I think that's everything I've been playing, mostly just the finals. Worth mentioning, but I can't talk about. I played Nobody Saves the World, which is on PlayStation Plus. We'll be discussing that at the end of the month. Also, for anybody curious, it is a top-down action game where you level individual basically classes that have different abilities, and I guess it has co-op, which I didn't know going into this month. So if that sounds interesting, check it out. We'll talk about it at the end of the month. Chevy, I am going to pass it over to you so you have something to do.
Okay. Also been playing the finals.
Sure.
I have no idea what level I am at this point, but been playing it semi-regularly. I haven't played it almost feels like a week at this point, but pretty fun. I don't usually play these kind of games, so the fact that I'm even playing it, I think, speaks pretty well of it.
Oh god, I fucking love that you're playing it, because I don't get to play competitive shooters with you like ever.
Well, it's not really my cup of tea typically, so.
Yeah, but you know what pisses me off is you're fucking good at them.
Yeah.
So like,
that's what I tell them.
You're good at it. There's a lot of coordination, you know what I mean, and it's like cooperation with, and that's like part of the whole thing too. So it's like you do that well, so you're good at the game.
You know what fucking pissed me off?
That's half the battle right there.
Chevy's playing, and I already know. I played games with him in the past, like when it comes to shooters, and he always does well. But like, so I knew he would, and he's playing. He picked it up quickly, doing really well, and then he got Chris to try it one night. One night that I was sipping on fucking gin and getting wild, but it was just us three playing. Chris's first match. He's never played the game before. He's playing the light. He's got the fucking Uzi. He's playing the objective. He's communicating. He gets like 7 kills, which is like better than a lot of people who play regularly. And so he did well too. So like, it's just funny that like 2 people who typically don't play games like this played it, and they're both like, doing good. So anyway, Chevy, little boost.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it on that one.
What do you prefer in the finals, class wise?
I like a little bit from all of them to an extent, but like just overall enjoyment, I prefer the heavy. I think the light's probably my least favorite. Not really my play style. So the medium's got stuff about it I like, but I don't feel like any of the guns really kill. I'm sure people are going to disagree with that, but for me, it just doesn't work for me very well.
The medium is fucking hell for me.
Yeah, my other problem with the heavy is like you move slower, and I tend to kind of lag behind as people rush to the point anyways. Most games I play, I'm usually not very quick. So I'll get there, and then I'm just by myself because I showed up too late. So that's probably the hardest part. I have the reverse problem.
I get there too early.
Yeah.
And I'm like, fuck, I'm by myself.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. I just use the default gun on the heavy, so I don't know what it is, but
solid.
M60.
Yeah.
Josh knows. Yeah, for me, heavy is by far my favorite, just because in the game it's so destructible. You really can take control of firefights with that guy. I just like his weapons. I like his abilities a lot. And then light is my second favorite. A little too squishy, but they need to be because they can really kill people quick. with the invisibility, which I see a lot of people saying they need to nerf. I think it's fine. I see them all the time when they're invisible. You just got to keep an eye out for them. They can get up close to you though pretty quickly, so that's definitely a benefit, to having that. But it would be cool to see. I think I was talking to Chevy about this. I think Friday. I think it'd be cool if they added a wall run ability for the light that you replace the invisibility with. I forgot what they call those, but it'd be cool to
cloak.
So I was like, what could you add to maybe get people to stop using that as much, because people aren't using the grappling hook a whole lot anymore. And I don't
It needs to have a cooldown. I think it needs to have a little bit more of a cooldown, because in a firefight too, like you can go in and out of it way too quickly. So you'll lose somebody, and you know what I mean? It is easy to see them, because if you're running, it even tells you, like, if you're crouched, they can't see you. But if you start moving or running, then they can see you. But too many times I'm in a firefight and I'm like, they're just like invisible, and then they're not invisible, then they're visible again, then they're not invisible, but they're just, and it's part of it's part of the game, but it's a little too much sometimes.
Well, it's interesting too, because like with a lot of things, you just drop something, you got to wait for a cooldown. With this thing, it's an energy system. So anytime you have energy, you can be invisible. And so like you're constantly able to go invisible pretty quickly. So maybe if they slowed it down, or
maybe a little bit,
small adjustment, just so people can't do it so often. I love doing it so often when I play it, but when you play against it, it's fucking annoying. So
fucking yeah.
And then
especially as a heavy who can't fucking, probably like an invisible light with the double barrel shotgun fucking pisses me off.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because they'll like turn invisible, shoot off the 2 rounds, turn invisible again, run around a corner. I'm like, where the fuck is he? And usually I just start charging, and I'll just fucking bring the whole fucking house down on him. Or I start swinging my hammer around.
I would say I love lights when I'm a heavy with a hammer and they want to get close. That's always fun, because you can definitely out survive them if you're just swinging. So
right.
And then real quick, because I was kind of talking about the classes, the medium I'm not a fan of, mostly just because the weapons, but I think a lot of its utilities are really good. So I love the sonar grenade. Like, I love chucking that thing. You just see fucking everyone through the walls. It's so useful when your team can see it.
Yeah, it's a must. Yeah, I always play with that.
And the turret's like super weak, but I feel like it has to be, because it would be really fucking. It's annoying because you're getting shot by it and it's barely doing damage. So you're like, oh shit, I got to stop that thing. But it feels kind of useless to use sometimes. So I don't know what they could do to make that better. It also takes a while to lock onto people, which is the most frustrating thing about it. But it's probably all balance. So
yep.
Yeah. So you like the heavy, you don't like the light, you like the medium kind of Chevy.
I like the utility of the medium. I don't like the guns.
Yep, same page. All right. What else you been playing?
I also played something or other, Saves the World, the Plus game.
Oh, nobody.
Yeah.
They should change it to something or other. Saves the World.
Too long. Can't remember. I can't really talk about it, but also need to try the co-op. Was unaware it was a co-op game. So
yep.
But that was probably the game I knew the least about going into. So I would probably have a little more to say about that. Obviously, the month and the other two, but we'll see. And then other than that, as of today, I hopped back into Monster Hunter World a little bit more. I had started to play it a little bit. And then I can't remember. It was not the last Steam sale, but the one before it. I picked it up because it was like $30 for the game and Iceborne. And playing a little bit with Chris at the time, and then kind of slowed down playing. And then I noticed that Capcom had, after they released the trailer for Wilds, kind of put out a tweet saying, doing this campaign called Return to World. They were just go back to playing World. And then I'm seeing all these content creators play it now and stuff like that. I think the concurrent on Steam is like 160 some thousand.
Oh, that's awesome.
Which is pretty crazy. So it worked. Apparently all Capcom had to do is tell Monster Hunter people to play Monster Hunter. So
like fucking no problem. Yeah.
So yeah, I hopped on earlier with Psycho Scream.
Have you played before, Chevy?
Yeah, I played on PlayStation, so I'm kind of in
I
this.
put a lot of time into PlayStation. That's my
Yeah.
problem. I don't
Yep,
want to
same.
jump back into PC and do the same shit. I'm like, fuck, I
Yep.
put so much. I did all end game shit on PlayStation.
Yeah, I was about halfway through Iceborne on PlayStation, and then
Okay.
I got distracted by something else.
Yeah, I never beat Iceborne. I beat the main game, but I never beat Iceborne because by that time I just had played way too much. So I played something
Yeah, I was
else.
gonna say you and I jumped into it. I don't know, for like one night, and then we
love that
fought a
game.
few monsters, and that was about it.
Mhm.
And I got about halfway through Iceborne too, and you're right, starting over sucks because what the hell's the golden lizard called? The one that only shows up every once in a while.
The one that you have to smash the gold off of.
Yeah, like
yeah.
I had all of
That
her
is
like
such a same.
end game shit, and like I fought the ice dragon from Iceborne, but yeah, so starting over kind of sucks.
When they did the Final Fantasy, I forget what do you fight.
Behemoth.
That shit was so fun. And even playing with randoms, like most of the time I just played with, it was so fun. Once I started like learning to communicate in game with all, like that game is amazing because if you don't want to talk to people in that game, like all the stickers and everything like that are so good that you can communicate like solely with just those. It's amazing. So I was able to get most of that done just with randoms, and it was always fun. God, I love that game. That's awesome. It's awesome.
I'm so fucking excited for the new one because like
Oh, sure.
I liked the last Monster Hunter, but because it was on Switch, like it just didn't. It was awesome,
Yeah,
but like
same
and
problem.
you can play on PC as well, but like it just didn't have the same feeling as World with how far it came, and so I'm
Yeah.
ready for the next AAA Monster Hunter game, something that I can spend a lot of fucking time just going crazy on. And this one just looks like so. It looks from the small teaser like it's going to be like bigger areas and crazy mobility on your pet and stuff like that. So it just looks fucking awesome. Can't wait for it. Yeah, Chevy. Anything else?
I was just gonna say that I'm in high rank right now, and on the quest where you have to fight the 3 elder dragons the first time or whatever. So about as far as I've gotten so far. The game has a set of armor that helps you like get to the expansion faster. So I've just just had that put on and just tanking all the hits, basically not worrying about dodging too much. So it's been pretty easy, but been fun. I don't know how they do the events now because I know the game is technically done. So I don't know if they rotate or if they're always on.
I think they just rotate just randomly.
Well, I know some of them are just in the event thing. So
Oh yeah.
but yeah, I kind of figured they probably programmed it in the same way like like Animal Crossing, probably a weird example, but when the seasons hit, it just changes. It's part of the code at this point. They probably did the same thing to World. I'm not 100% sure. I haven't gotten to a point where I even looked. So because you brought up the gold fight, and that was a event that happened. That wasn't a permanent fight. So
yeah, they I know with the older Monster Hunters, they eventually just put all the events into like a thing.
well, so like on Rise, because it's more like traditional Monster Hunter, you can just download the quests.
And I think that's what they start. That's what they did with the world once they stopped working on it.
I'd be curious to see where that's at if it's the case, because it looks like a lot of them are just available, but I didn't see some of them. I imagine some of them are like time limited as well. Like the Assassin's Creed collaboration was probably will not return, type of thing. Is probably
Witcher
a
and
license
stuff
thing.
like that.
I forgot about that too.
But like the USJ one might still be there because they're pretty good about constantly collabing anyways. And the Final Fantasy 14 one was a built-in boss fight that's just part of the game. So
Yeah.
but yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to get through high rank. I'm trying to get to Iceborne because that's where I left off. So, but then I've noticed in one of the Discords I'm in, 6 people I know were all playing World today. I was like,
People are getting hyped again.
that's the game right now, apparently. So,
Fuck yeah.
Plus, it was like $11 on fucking the winter sale, so it's like that game should never be that cheap. But
Right.
the accessibility of it's very nice. Like I was like, fuck, if somebody hadn't played that game, that'd be the time.
there's like 3 streamers that I occasionally catch, and they are all played it for the first time like in the last week. So it's just like
That's cool.
kind of crazy.
A lot of
Especially 'cause the
content
game's
there.
sold like 23 million copies, like the top selling Capcom game ever. So
Damn.
Damn. Yeah.
I think Rise only sold like 13. So yeah, World sold a lot, but it's also on more platforms. The other one's only on 2, to my knowledge. So, but yeah, that's all I've been playing.
All right, Cody.
Well, I've sort of been all over the place. Also played the finals. It's funny you guys were talking about your guys' favorite class. I mainly play medium and I mainly play light. So most of my time are both in that, and I fucking hate heavy just because of how slow he is. That's really it.
It's so funny.
Survivability is great. Yeah.
It's so funny how useless the medium feels to me in the way I play it. But then somebody else plays it, they're like, I love this. And I'm just like, holy shit. Like most games I'll play like all the classes. I'm like, yeah, I could get behind all these. But like medium, I'm like, I don't ever want to play this. If it's like a daily where you got to do something with them, I'm like, oh my God, I fucking hate this. But then like you talk to other people and they're like, oh, I love the medium. I hate the heavy. I'm like, how the fuck do you hate the heavy? Like it's really interesting how like, in a fun way, how polarizing the classes are. Because like even on TikTok, I made a video about like, it's a joke, but like, how the heavy, like the light and the mediums react when the heavy shows up and starts destroying everything. And I had a bunch of people in my comments going like, I play the medium. That's my main. I'm like, man, there's a lot of medium mains in here. It's crazy. So people like it.
Yeah. The weapon, I mean, it's a balance thing. I agree with the turret kind of being useless. What I've kind of done is I'm main healing, because unless it's kind of nice that you can bounce, like I just kind of go in main as a healer, and then if someone else is, there's no need for 3 healers or 2 healers, so I just switch if I am to light or whatever. But it's funny because I at first I liked the turret, but then I realized that you can kind of use, like if you play right, you can kind of use other teams' turrets to your advantage. Like if you're in a firefight and there's another person puts a turret down, then I just kind of fucking if I'm a light, I'll just zero around there and wait for it to fucking kind of take a couple people out, and then I just come in and fucking melee them to death, and it's kind of nice. So I just don't. And plus, like where you can put the turret is kind of touchy sometimes. Like you can just put them on the wall, upside down on the walls or whatever, but you have to be very quick with it.
Barrels.
Yeah, but yeah, you can put them on anything. Light is super cool because of the invisibility, the cloak devices, but the grappling hook. I mostly use the dodge. So I usually use the sword and then the dodge, and I'm basically untouchable. Like I'm just fucking zooming around all over the place. I'm a pain in the ass. Plus,
true, dude.
Getting around in that game is just amazing. I mean, that's just like a game in itself. It's just like trying to get away from people. You know what I mean? Just coming in, poking, and then jumping and going up 2 stories, and then jumping back down, and it's a lot of fun. I really, really enjoy this game. Plus, the destruction in this game is ridiculous. I mean,
so good.
You can hit corners of things. You know what I mean? You can hit like. Bringing the crane down for the first time was the craziest thing I've ever seen. I was just like, this is intense.
I had played the game for probably like 30, 40 hours. And then I saw the crane fall and just hit a building. I was like, I did not know the crane could fall. Like, that's fucking crazy.
Yeah. You can take bridges out. Like, that's a whole strategy. You can just like take completely, like that's a strategy. Just like take the bridge out so nobody can get to it. You can completely
obliterate a whole building if you need to. Like gigantic buildings will collapse. Like the destructibility is fucking insane. It's like, it's what Levolution should have been a long time ago in Battlefield. Mixed with, like you were saying earlier, kind of like you were saying with the turrets, like that getting kind of creative, like all the abilities and the, things you can use, and turrets don't have to just be on the ground, they can be on the ceiling, all sorts of shit allows for so many creative plays that every match I always see something that I'm like, I wish I was fucking recording that. That was like once, and you don't see that ever. Like there's just so many elements that make every match feel new and dynamic and fresh. So yeah, and then with the light you have breach charges, so you can, I don't know if they'll nerf it, people keep talking about that they might, but you can throw the breach charges onto destructibles. Yep.
and then throw those and blow it up.
And your dead allies.
Yeah, 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 and so there's that, and then and the monetization stuff. Like I think that they do the one with that. It's a lot, but it's a free game. Like I've already put, I equate time like that when I play games like this. Like how much time, like Dead by Daylight. Like I put so much time into that game that I'm like, look, I bought that game, but at the same time, I put more than the time that or the price that it was at the time. I put more than that into it. So, I don't mind. The battle pass is one thing, but yeah.
Yeah, games like whether it's a battle pass or just the support of it with DLC. Some games I want to spend more money on. Like I spent a lot of money on Warframe back when I used to play it, just because I love the dev, I loved the game. What they did with the game is fantastic, and the content is stuff I wanted to pay money for. I put money into Path of Exile, same story, great dev, great game, evolved, was awesome. Dead by Daylight, I buy a lot of the DLCs because every time I return to that game, I'm just like, this game's fucking awesome. I love this game. The finals is feeling like that for me. I've already paid for a full price game with the game. I think I've spent like $70 or $80 in the game. 40 of that, for anybody curious, 45, 46 of that was the money I spent on the day before, and I refunded it. That went into the finals, so it went to a better place. But yeah, I've spent like money on a full price game with the finals because I've put 50 something hours into it so far.
Yeah.
So like I'm playing the fucking game. So yeah, some games like, I'm not opposed to the monetization as long as you're offering me content and support that I want and you're not, feeling predatory. So yeah, I don't mind spending money on it.
Right.
But Dead by Daylight's a great example too, because that's another game. The new content's always fun, exciting, new, and I'm like, oh fuck, I want that. So,
game modes. I think that's just the one last thing about it. It's like it's a fantastic game. It's just super fun. There's like this weird arcadey thing to it too. It just doesn't really feel like you're hopping into a battlefield or something like that. It just feels very like just chaotic and just fun. Like old. It feels like an old school video game.
Yeah.
And
it feels fresh.
Yeah, it feels fresh. And then
compared to everything else.
Well, that's what. And but the game modes. That's the one thing they probably should add another game modes. I like what they have, but it's literally it's like 2 game modes that they have.
I've been thinking about this because I agree that they need more game modes. But one thing that Battlefield did wrong was they had too many game modes, and then they would separate their fucking DLC packs. So like if you owned a DLC pack, you could play it, but then they separated that from another DLC pack. So if you're playing these maps, you're playing here, and they're really bad about like separating people. And so like if you had too many game modes in a game like this, you can start separating people quite a bit, and they're not anywhere close to even having that issue because they only have 2 game modes, and I only play one of them because the other one is fine, but I don't love it. But the first one I fucking love. I think the cash out game mode is fucking awesome. But I think it'd be smart for them to add a third game mode that was a rotation of expected game modes like deathmatch, team deathmatch, basic stuff like that, but keep it in one playlist. So like you have 3 things to click on at this point, and that's for people who just want to get in, do some fucking quick firefight type shit. And if they wanted to be, lazy about it, I guess they could just like cordon off sections of their already built maps that are smaller for deathmatch like that, maybe adjust them or whatever, or add brand new ones. But I think that'd be a better way to add variety, but also not separate people too much, because you don't want that second game mode that nobody plays as much as the first one. Even though I know people play the second one, you don't want less people playing that because they're attracted to the other ones. So, but I agree, it's just ready for more game modes for sure, especially that destructibility. You could really do a lot of cool things.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah,
I was just say to add on to the game mode thing and the monetization thing real quick. The game mode thing, I think, my thoughts was in a similar vein to Seth's. So I would probably make like the third option just be a random and add like a daily bonus to even participating in it to keep it alive. And then other than that, with the monetization thing, my big gripe with their monetization is that it's a little heavy on the greedy side. I've played plenty of games with battle passes, and usually 50% of the battle pass is available and 50% is premium. And this is like 60% you have to pay for. The 30% is free, and they're really, really spaced out from each other. And also force bundles feel bad, man. Like, let me buy
which
a
is
piece out of
fucking,
it.
which
Right.
drives me nuts because in the beta you could buy individual fucking parts to the bundles, and then the game release, then they only sell bundles. And I'm like, you should let people buy individual pieces as well, because you're going to get money from people who aren't going to buy those bundles.
Yeah.
That's just more revenue.
Dead by Daylight did that for a while too, and then they switched to just individual.
Yeah, I feel like they're going to have to switch because there's no way they don't fucking know that. But I agree with that as well.
Those are my major gripes with it though.
It'd be cool if they made a mode where destruction was the objective. Like there's two bases or a single building, and whatever team does the most destruction to the building wins, but you're also fighting each other. Something like that. Like not specifically just that, but something where you're competing for destruction. I think would be kind of cool because they already have a system made for that.
Yeah, for game modes, I wasn't, necessarily like, I'm more of a fan of those types of game modes like that. That type. Like, you actually have to like coordinate and stuff like that. I'm not saying you can't do that with like team deathmatch, but that's not even what I was talking about. It would be nice if that was just there, if you could just hop in, warm up, and play that. But that's usually what I use for cash out.
Yeah.
But yeah, totally. Exactly what you guys said. I want to kind of hop over to the other game I've been playing just really quick though, but I did hop back into Halo Reach multiplayer, which is weird. It's Halo. It's fun. I mean, it's a good time. I kind of blew through the winter battle pass without even realizing it, and just got a bunch of new shit. And I logged in for the first time in a while, and they just gave me a bunch of like boots and shit. And so Reach, yeah, the multiplayer.
I didn't realize they had battle pass on.
Oh no, he's talking about Infinite.
Oh, Reach. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Okay. Infinite. I don't know. It was literally in my head. I was like, "Don't say Reach. Don't say Reach."
I knew exactly what
I
you're talking
knew what I
about.
was
I
talking
didn't
about.
even
Somebody
second
did.
guess it. But then when he brought it up, I was like, no, he means Infinite. Like
Infinite.
yeah.
Halo Infinite, which is fun. Just hopping into random, playing capture the flag, like old school capture the flag. Like that shit is just fun to just hop
Especially
in
in
after.
Halo's perfect for capture the flag because you can
Exactly.
take hits and you're
Oddball,
like
like all
brawling
the
and shit.
classics. Yeah.
Yep.
Super fun.
Dude, I fucking bought over the winter sale. Finally bought the Master Chief or Halo collection, what the fuck it's called.
Oh yeah, I saw
That's
that.
like Halo
Yeah.
1 through I think 5 or 4. There's a lot of Halos in the collection. It's fucking crazy. But
Yeah.
I was playing that. I'm like, oh my god, dude, I forgot. Like I used to be like a huge fucking Halo. We all were huge Halo fans.
Yeah.
Everyone here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if Chevy was, but I know he played Halo 3 quite a bit. God, I fucking miss those games. I forgot just how good they are. Even I was playing the original one, and they've like completely redone it. And it's funny because I was looking at it, I'm like, man, this game still looks pretty good for how old it is. And then I was like, wait, this is completely redone. And I think you hit tab at any time, it'll switch the graphics instantly. And I looked at the old graphics. I was like, oh my god, those are the graphics I remember. There
That's
they are.
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, but those games are still solid, and they have the multiplayer on there, which is crazy that they offer the multiplayer for all those games.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It's like that's because it's confusing because they even in Halo Infinite they have like you can play co-op and just do firefights, and just play regular fighting AI.
Oh, really?
So yeah,
I didn't know
you
that.
can just
That's cool.
you can just hop. So that's why I was kind of confused. I was like, there's still they have multiplayer in the Master Chief Collection and they're doing Infinite.
Yeah, which
and they
seems
and
like
they,
a lot.
Well, and they yeah, exactly. And they have they do like a Halo 3 Reforge where it's just like all Halo 3 game modes and stuff like that. So it's it's just nostalgia, but it's fun. It's just like a game that when you play like snipers or shotguns, like you have to be on your shit. But other than that, it can just be a frag fest and just be fun.
I remember playing Infinite and the multiplayer when it first came out, and I thought the gameplay was fucking awesome, and I loved the music and everything about it was really cool. My biggest complaint was coming from every Halo before it, where like there's just a shitload of game modes, content, all sorts of stuff. Playing a game that was like had a really slow battle pass, and like every once in a while you unlock this and that. and then had like no game modes. I was like, I don't know, man. Like, fucking, you guys got to like beef this up a bit before I get into it. So I keep hearing though it's in a really good place right now.
People are playing it. There's a lot of people playing it.
So maybe I'll revisit it. I never
Yeah.
played the fucking co-op for the single player.
Right, I forgot they even had that.
Yeah.
And I played in way back when it came out. I played the single player and it was fun. I mean, it's an open world, Halo game, and it's destructive and it's almost like Just Cause 3 but Halo. So it's pretty fun.
Yeah, it kind of seemed like Just Cause meets like Far Cry, but Halo. Like it's kind of interesting. And I played it a little bit, but I was like, nah, I want to wait till the co-op comes out so I can play with people because I think it'd be fun. But yeah, I need to revisit it because I think they released the game too early, and
Oh,
so
for sure.
my opinion would probably change by now.
Yeah, I'm just glad they kind of stuck with it and kind of let all the
They
bad.
got to like it would be such a bad look for such a legendary series to release something unfinished and then just not support it. So
Right.
it'd be a bad look.
Yeah, exactly. That one, and then I'm working my way through Phantom Liberty right now.
Oh, nice.
Almost done. Almost done. I don't want to. I think I told you this prior text, but I was just like, I don't want it to end. So I'm just kind of like doing whatever. Like all the side quests are just so distracting. Every time I find like a new piece of clothing, like I always have to go back to my apartment and change things up and just be like, make sure I'm looking the part. I was rocking the mantis blades through most of my playthrough, and then I switched to the wire. And that shit fucks people up. Like, that's almost like, I don't know why you would use anything else in that game.
Hacker
You just,
wire, isn't it?
yeah, the hacker wire, but you could whip people with it.
Right.
And it's just like, it's way OP. So you're just bitch slapping people left and right.
It's funny how much I've played that game with two different characters, and there's still things that I just haven't fucked around with, like the gorilla arms, or whatever the hell they're called. You can just like fuck people up and throw them. Like I watched a video where a guy was picking people up and chucking them. I'm like, I've never done that in the game. I've played the game for hours and hours and hours. I've never done that. And so there's I haven't even touched the mantis blades. And so like there's a lot of things in the game I want to replay it for, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they changed the gorilla arms. They might have changed them during 2.0 because when I did my playthrough last year or 20, I don't remember. I used the gorilla arms through the whole thing, and I couldn't pick anybody up.
They did a lot of changes because my first playthrough, which was when the game came out, the melee combat was not anywhere as good as it is now. The katana you could slice people with, that was it. And even back then I'm like, it'd be cool if you could block bullets, and they added that so you can deflect them right back at them and shit. But they really revamped the melee aspect of the game, and it's fucking awesome what they did with it. So
oh yeah. I was mostly, I mean, like most games like that in the beginning, I was just kind of running, gunning. So I would just kind of run in, shoot out the place. And then I wasn't really, when I first played it, I wasn't too invested in the story. But so I was just kind of playing it, and it was fun just to play it. But then it's really funny because during this playthrough, I was kind of just like going in and like shooting up the place, like doing a random, maybe for like the police department or something, like, but I ran in and they tell you too, because they're like, oh man, like you know, once you save that person, like if you go and just wipe a place out and you go and save the guy and he's like, dude, you didn't have to kill everybody. Like, what the hell's wrong with you? Like, that's part of like the dialogue. And it started honestly making me feel bad.
oh shit.
So I was like, oh, maybe I'm gonna, you know, change my playthrough. So now I'm doing more like, I'll still, if shit goes wrong, I'll still fuck people up. But at the same time, now I'm doing more quick hack stuff and actually doing the surveillance systems and doing all that, doing more stealthy to not kill as many people. It's just funny how it's just like, I felt bad.
Yeah.
Just like, no, I don't want to kill all these guys and just murder everybody.
It's the type of game though where you can kind of, like, you know, an Elder Scrolls game where you're like, I'm gonna go through and be like a big piece of shit, or I'm gonna play you know, like a good guy, or I'm gonna beat the sneaky thief guy who steals things but doesn't kill. Like, you can do that kind of thing in this game, so it makes sense you would you know, recalibrate kind of the way you want to play it.
There's just so many different types of ways to play it, so it's just like, once this is done, I'm just gonna keep playing it again. To jump, you know, into the Phantom Liberty part, it's really fun, you know. In you know, I don't want to touch too much on it because it is still pretty fresh.
Yeah.
But it's more like bigger fights a little bit. You know what I mean? There's just like more. It's just like a kind of like a spectacle almost, like when you have early into the DLC. Idris Elba is in it, which is kind of just is weird in a way too, because I like him, but at the same time it just also kind of feels like another like Keanu Reeves trick sorta.
Yeah.
But it's a big name, another big name in a game like that. That's just kind of like and it
I
works.
like how different his character feels though.
Right.
Because he's like
Yeah.
the fucking, hard-boiled detective type character, but I think he does a really good job at that. And he is just like a big, name and face for the game, but the way he plays his character and the whole overall espionage theme of Phantom Liberty,
Yeah.
I really kind of dug it because like I forgot to mention I've also played Phantom Liberty recently. That's the other game I've been putting a lot of time into, and I beat it. Without talking about the story, obviously, I really dug how different Dogtown feels than the rest of the game in terms of like theming, story, atmosphere. It honestly felt like its own fucking game. It felt like its own little game.
For sure.
And when I beat it, I was like, I feel like I just beat Cyberpunk, but I was like, wait, I can keep playing because I haven't finished the main campaign yet. Because for anybody curious, not a spoiler really, Phantom Liberty on the time frame of the game takes place in the middle of the story. So you can beat the game, go back and play it, but it's almost like you're playing like a flashback or something. It takes place during the middle of Cyberpunk, and so that's how I played it. And so when I beat it, I was like, I felt like I'd played this big epic story. I was like, holy shit! But I was like, oh yeah, I still got to beat the game too. So
it's and you can go back between the two places.
Yep.
Which is kind of cool too, because it's just like doesn't feel it feels like it's separate, but it's part of it. It's and that's really cool. I mean, it's not like that. The loading screen is literally going in and it's just like scanning your car, and I'm like, this is fucking cool.
Yep.
And then immediately I'm going to be like, there's going to be something wrong. You know what I mean? Something is going to go wrong in this situation where there's like security, and then they scan you and you're like, oh, everything's good, you can go. And I'm like, something's going to happen where it's not going to be good. And it's just like kind of builds it up. But yeah, it's awesome. It's just amazing to think how far that game has come. Like it's amazing. Like they deserve a lot of credit for sticking with it. It's another one of those games like that, got a lot of backlash, and then they stuck with it and made it right, in my opinion.
Yeah, 100%. It went from, for me, just because I already liked the original game, but obviously recognize it had issues. I already loved it, but playing it and beating Phantom Liberty recently and just playing through the game and actually savoring the game now that I'm not being distracted by bugs nonstop. I mean, it's a fucking A+ game now. Like it's fucking fantastic. Like I can't praise it enough when talking about it. I'm like, if you haven't played it in like the last like year or so, you should revisit it because it's just like the game it should have been, and that game's fucking awesome.
Yeah, there's so much to it. It's just but yeah, that's what I've been playing.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Anything anyone missed like me with Phantom Liberty? Nothing. All right. Well, let's know
the finals.
Huh?
But I played the finals.
Yeah.
I think I mentioned that.
You mentioned it for a brief second, but is there anything you want to say about it?
No.
How far are you?
I use the heavy usually.
Yeah.
Heavy with sledgehammer, and then with the dome shield, so they have to come into my world.
Dome shield is
and
tight.
Then I start
Dome
swinging
shield
that thing
so you
around.
can
It's hard to get away from.
Crack them in the dome when they come in.
And then let me bounce this off you real quick. What about a conquest mode, but you can pick up the points and move them?
That would be interesting.
Like a cash box or something
Didn't
Oh,
have
like
something like that?
for payload.
Yeah, just being able to fucking, like, you can't do anything when you're holding the point, but you can move them around the map.
What could have like? Well, that'd be close to the cash out system, but I was like, they could have like designated areas on the map that are separated where you can like lock them in, and once they're locked in, they have to be there for a certain amount of time before they get moved again. But when you're there in a circle, you capture it if there's more of you than them, and they can have a ticket system, something like that.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Because it'd be similar to the cash out game, but also reminiscent of their last game.
So
So
that's their thing. If you deviate from that a little bit, it's like that's the game mode. That's what's bring. What I mean?
That's Battlefield. Yeah.
Yeah.
but it also kind of makes sense if you could like move them after a while. I think it would be good if they have to be locked in there for a while, but moving them again, because the destructibility, maybe the area just got completely fucking flat and you're like, this place sucks, we got to move this somewhere else. Be kind of interesting.
Could see that.
Or if it randomly moved them on its own, so you have to keep moving. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah. Yep. That's all I got.
All right. Well, let us know in the comments, what have you guys been playing? What games would you recommend us play? And what do you think about have you played the finals? What do you think about that? What do you think about Phantom Liberty? If you're playing that, no spoilers, please. And everything else, let us know in the comments below. All right. So let's jump into our Game of the Year discussion, where we're going to be all picking an individual game of the year and 2 runner-ups. We'll start with the runner-ups, of course. They can be in a certain order if you want, or they can be equal or whatever. I don't really care either way, but we'll go around and we'll do that and kind of celebrate the fucking crazy year that was 2023 in terms of games. I also have a shout-out list I'm going to be going through afterwards, just kind of throwing shout-outs to all the games that came out that I think are worth mentioning. We'll start with our first runner-ups, or second, however the hell you want to say it. And let's start first with Cody. What's your first runner-up for 2023?
It's the first game that which sounds crazy, but the first story game that I actually completed, Dead Space, the remake.
Ooh, good one.
And that got me kind of what a game similar did a few years back, but Ghosts of Tsushima, where I played that game and I beat that shit all the way through, and then it just revitalized me into gaming again. That's what Dead Space did. When I played that, I was just like, I'm gonna beat this. I beat it on hard. I fucking tortured myself through it, because I remember that game being fucking hard on the original one. So I was like, I can beat this, no problem. And it took me a lot longer than I thought, but I beat it, and it's just an amazing game. It's what a remake. I mean, the original is already almost perfect in my eyes. So this one just kind of added on it's just bigger, just looks gorgeous. But everything is just better basically. But
it's easily one of the best games of 2023 in my opinion.
Yep.
I fucking loved it, which is wild because, and this is why it's so heavy for me in terms of how much I like it or love it, is I've never been a Dead Space fan. I always thought Dead Space was kind of cheesy, which is
Dead Space 1 is the shit, but the rest of them,
and I hate saying how I used to think before this year, because now I'm the fan of Dead Space that I am now. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? It's not cheap. The game is fucking genius. It's really weird. I've lived 2 different lives because of this game, because I picked it up because I'm like, I haven't played a horror game in a while. I'm gonna check it out, see if they did a good job with it. I started playing. I'm like, holy fuck, dude, this is the atmosphere is amazing. The story's fucking good. The characters are really good. The weapons and upgrades are fucking super good. The dismembering is so satisfying. It's crazy. Shooting in that game is so good. And then when I beat the game, I was like, I gotta fucking know everything about this storyline. I became obsessed for 2 weeks after I beat that game. I was like, I need to know everything about this Dead Space storyline because it's so fucking cool. And so it was really interesting because right before I played that game, I was like, Dead Space, not really for me. It's kind of like Gears of War. I understand when people like it, but I'm not into it. And now I'm just like, all men be praised. This is fucking one of the best survival horror games ever made, easily. Yeah, it's a genius game.
No, it was super fun, and like I said, it's just I just had to power through it. So it was just a game that there's too many games that came out this year that I couldn't give it number one, but it's very close to my next 2. So but it was amazing, and I really enjoyed it. That's my pick.
All right, in my opinion, great pick. Let's go with Chevy. What's your first runner-up?
Okay. There's a couple games I didn't play this year, so this might have changed, but with what I have played this year, I'm going to go with Final Fantasy 16. It is I'm going to go with the 3-2-1 system. So
Okay.
it was a very well-made game, which I was glad to see, especially with how long it's been since we got, outside of 14. A Final Fantasy, 15 was also kind of hit or miss in a lot of ways. So I was very happy to see that. The music is fantastic. The characters are very good, and it's a very good-looking game. Honestly, it would be higher, except for I think the story was okay at best. So I didn't dislike it, but I also didn't love it. So it was serviceable. But the spectacle of the game and the music were definitely my favorite parts of the game for sure. Some visuals that you're only going to see in that game. There's music you're only going to hear in that game, and I'll definitely remember that for a long time. So yeah, very good game. I do think if the story was a little better for me, I probably would have. It probably even could have had a chance for Game of the Year for me, but I didn't really care after I beat it, which was kind of sad. So
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of my biggest regrets of 2023 is not finishing that game. And it's definitely still a priority for me because now that I've been beating games and narrowing down the games that I have left, it's that Baldur's Gate 3 and Armored Core I need to still finish. But I wish I would have played that more and beat it when I had the time to do that. Because it's from what I've played so far, it's fantastic. And I thought it was really cool to see how much people were upset that it didn't get even like a Game of the Year nom, and didn't get brought up enough in terms of the awards for the year, because I guess a lot of people seem to have really liked it. So it's good to hear that, because I do think it is one of the more unique games of 2023, one of the standouts. So
for sure.
Yeah.
I think it definitely would have gotten noms if it wasn't in such a banger year.
Yep.
I think that 100% would have been a Game of the Year.
Yep.
So
that's how I feel about Spider-Man 2. I'm playing that
Yeah.
now, and we did a whole review on it. And I really like it. I have no complaints. It's a fucking solid ass game. And in any other year, it's that AAA fucking great game that would easily win Game of the Year. But in a year with so many big brand new standout games, just being a super fucking solid game, I don't think is enough. So
Which is crazy. Which
Yeah.
is nuts.
yeah, it's wild.
That's where we are now.
Yeah. Luckily, I don't think 2024 is going to be like that, but there's definitely some big
Right.
games this year I'm excited to play. But I think it's going to be a little more relaxed than how big of a year 2023 was. Yeah. Anything else? All right. I'll go next. My first runner-up, and it's almost equal with my next runner-up, but just a little under, just because I feel like I have to, because they had a chance already. And so I feel like it'd be unfair to take away from other people that actually came out this year fully, and that is Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty.
Shit.
This could have easily been my second runner-up, and in a year, any other year, it could have been my Game of the Year. I fucking love Cyberpunk 2077 and where it's at right now, and Phantom Liberty is fucking phenomenal. Having actually prioritized and played through and beating it recently to make sure I could talk about it, because while I was playing, I was like, dude, I love this. But how can I, give it any kind of accolade if I don't finish it? So I finished it, and the story's fucking awesome. Great ending, great characters, great twists and turns. The whole theme, I'm trying to be vague here because it's pretty new and I don't want to spoil anything, but the whole theme of espionage and spy stuff, and the weapons you find, the relic upgrades that you get, even though I think they could be better, that they added anything at all that adds to your progression, is fucking awesome. I think they also extended the amount of levels you can get perk points for, because I thought I was capped out or getting close to capped out before. I don't know if they did that or not, but it feels like they did. But overall, I've same boat as Cody. When Cody told me I don't want it to end, I'm like, bro, I fucking beat the story, and I'm almost upset that I did, because I want to keep playing, and I still got the rest of the main game to play, and I can always go back to Dogtown. There's a bunch of activities to do there, more shit to do, but Just with how the story finalized, I was like, man, I am upset that's over. It is easily, for me personally, one of the best, top 3 games of 2023, which is so fucking awesome to be able to say, because Cyberpunk has always been good in my opinion, with obvious problems, but they finally redeemed themselves in my opinion. They fixed it. The game's better than it ever was originally supposed to be, and it fucking sucks. Their first expansion is their last expansion. I'd be so happy for another expansion. I know they're working on the next game, and I'm sure it'll be great, but I would love another expansion of this degree, because CD Projekt Red did what CD Projekt Red has always done and made a fantastic game with fantastic expansions. And yeah, this is no different. So hard recommendation for anybody out there who hasn't played Cyberpunk in a little bit, fucking play it, because it is awesome, and Phantom Liberty is dope as shit. So,
and we were at E3 when that shit was in a hot, sweaty room.
Yeah.
Fucking, we almost didn't get in, and we were fucking so hyped for that game. Yeah.
Yeah.
And here we are.
It's funny because we were there for the hype, and then the game didn't do well in a lot of ways, but I still liked it. Yeah. But now it feels like it finally ran through the finish line, no problems, great game. So it feels good to be able to put that in my top 3. So
absolutely,
Phantom Liberty easily my first runner up, and almost equal with my next runner up. But we'll talk about that when we get there. I think it's Josh left.
First runner up. This is going to come out of way left field, but it's Wild Hearts.
Fuck. I almost picked that too.
What this year?
February 23.
Yep.
Interesting.
Wow.
So, Wild Hearts is 100% a Monster Hunter like. You do the exact same fucking thing: get weapons, go kill monsters, take their parts, make new weapons, new armor. For me, the difference was in the story. It had a lot of stakes, which I thought was really fucking cool.
It tells a better story.
I mean, yeah, I was gonna say, like, it felt like not scary, like horror, but like you're literally helping the people of this village, and like the first huge boss you fight, it's trying to destroy that village, and you're just fucking running around trying to kill this thing, and then literally the second main huge boss you fight inside the fucking village as it's ripping everything apart and people are dying, and like, so it just had a very like dire story. It was almost like nothing fucking kind of went right for these people for a long time, you know.
Well, and without spoiling anything, after that fight, how things kind of progress and evolve physically, really surprised me that they even put that effort into it. Like the storytelling in that game, they put way more work into than I think they even needed to do, and it definitely was fantastic for that.
And the last boss is a complete spectacle on its own. And the whole time I was fighting it, I was just like, Seth and I fought it together. I was just like, this is fucking cool.
Yep.
Like, straight up, this is fucking cool. I think that build system is really cool. I forgot what they're called.
Katakuri.
Yeah. The only thing that was coming to my mind was Sikomo, but that's that little ball that came around with you when you were playing solo.
Tsukuma.
Yeah. But I thought the Katakuri was really cool. I like how it had like a weird Helldivers kind of combo system, you know, like to build certain things. They all did different things to monsters. There's a shitload of them, and a lot of them I didn't even touch and mess with because they're just, you know, it just wasn't my play style. So that was cool. There was definitely things that, because I'd hop online with somebody and they'd be playing with a completely different set. And I'm like, oh, I can kind of see, you know, why you would be using that and stuff like that. But nothing is more satisfying than stunning a monster than having 4 fucking hammers slam into it.
Oh, yeah. The combat is so fucking satisfying, and I get that Katakuri is like take it or leave it. Like you're either going to be into it or you're not. But if you are into it, like it offers, and I'm not comparing the two because the conversation is boring, but it does offer a legitimate reason for Wild Hearts to exist, because even though it's obviously you fight monsters to get resources to build equipment, which we all know that's that gameplay. It adds an element of gameplay that you don't get anywhere else. That doesn't exist anywhere else. And so if you like it, it's the only place you can get it. And it also makes every world that you're fighting in or location, because things stay on the map, feel a little more personal, a little more dynamic. You hop into someone else's game, you see what they built, and vice versa. And it just feels like the world is a little more plastic, a little more malleable in kind of like the finals, like, you know, what you can even do in combat. And so, yeah, that's one of my favorite things about it. Outside of, I think you bring up a good point with the story, but the combat is just fucking awesome. Like I love the combat in that game. It's so satisfying.
And I think, and it sucks that EA thinks that it failed, because that means probably another one probably won't come out. But
that's such a fucking bummer. Yeah.
Yeah, because I feel like this was a very good freshman outing, and I feel like if they just added a couple more weapons, more monster types, because a lot of the monster types shared the same, was that rigging, the skeleton?
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's like 4 monsters of the big ass boar, and, you know, a couple of them of that rat thing. And so it would be nice to, you know, have a little more of a difference, a little more variety. But other than that, it was, I think the weapons were inventive. I like how the sword turns into fucking pretty much Ivy's whip from goddamn Tekken, or not Tekken, Jesus, what am I new? Soul Calibur.
Yep.
The bow was really fucking cool. It was the weapon I used the most, which is weird because I never use fucking projectile weapons.
Mm-hmm.
But even like the hammer had really cool things. There's that bow, or there's that staff that changed.
Yeah.
You know, and the umbrella,
the claw
was a parry
blade, the
weapon.
thing I use, like, was so fucking fun. I mean, I love insect glaive in Monster Hunter, so I like to be able to have mobility and move in the air, but it didn't just feel like it was trying to be like that. It had its own movement. You felt like a ninja flying around in the air. You got to really control how you moved while you're attached to things. That was like, it's so fucking fun. Like, it's so good.
I was gonna say, there are so many times you like the monster be running away, and I just watch you flying behind it because you're attached
hooked
to it.
onto it. Yep.
Yeah, and I just be
fly
chasing
and
it.
hit it. Yeah.
So yeah, so all those things is just the kind of the because what was that one free to play game that did the Monster Hunter
Dauntless.
thing? Yeah, so like that tried.
Yeah.
And it was okay for free to play.
They're still around, apparently. I get emails.
But it was really cool to actually. It was really cool to actually see like a good college try in that kind of.
It's such a good try. I think it's a complete success in what they did, because people want to compare it in like content to Monster, but it's like Monster has been around since fucking PS2. They've had time to build up. This game came out with a lot of fucking content. And then they supported it. They added a bunch of shit, and then EA was like, "Nah, we're not going to keep supporting it. None of people are playing it, and they're not supporting it anymore."
It's at a mix right now on Steam, but I think a lot of that, honestly, if you go in the comments, it's a lot of it to do with EA Play.
Yeah,
that you have to use that to do that. So if they didn't have that, then it probably would have a lot. You would have a lot more positive reviews. But I think it's at mix right now.
It's also worth mentioning that the PC release was not very stellar.
Not ideal. It had stuttering and stuff like that.
Yep.
And yeah.
Yeah, it didn't have a good launch, and it had some hiccups for sure, but the core gameplay of it.
Yeah, you're right.
And I also think it wasn't marketed well. But
Yeah.
That's EA's fault. I mean, they did the same thing with Immortals of Avium. So
Me and Chevy fucking working up to that game coming out, I was like, I'm going to try it because I like Monster Hunter, so I'm going to try a Monster Hunter rival or alternative. But the Katakuri looked fucking stupid to me. I was like, that looks like a gimmick. And then I played it, I'm like, holy shit, no, I was wrong. That's fine. I can be wrong.
Right.
That's fine. It's fucking awesome. I love it. Chevy didn't like it, and that's, to each their own. But, that just showed that the marketing didn't do a good job. I was like, who gives a fuck? They kept doing these like videos on like, oh, the Katakuri. And I'm like, it's just a box that does whatever the fuck you want. I don't get it. But then I played, I was like, oh shit, this is like adding a whole new element to combat in real time. And so, yeah, they didn't convey it well.
yeah, but that's my runner up, and I really hope to see it again sometime.
You talking about it makes me want to play it right now.
I need to play it.
It's a little bit of a spoiler, but it's not in my top 3. But I really humored putting it in there until I beat Phantom Liberty, just because when I got my Steam analytics back for games I played, 3 games out of the 112 I played on Steam this year, 3 of them had 8% of my total playtime a piece. And so that doesn't sound like a lot, but when you play that many games, each one of those got 8%. One of them was Wild Hearts, and I was like, I forgot I played the fuck out of that game. And I started thinking about it, I'm like, I really like that game a lot. So yeah, I almost picked it, but I didn't because I just have a couple games that are a little higher priority. But yeah, it's a fantastic game. So I think it's a really good pick too. You guys both picked games I regret not putting in my top 3. So
That's good.
all 3 of you, I guess, because I didn't
no
get
bases
16.
covered.
Yep. Yeah. So I'm glad to see that representation. So everybody did the first runner-up.
Yeah.
Who started last time? Cody?
Me. Yep.
All right, let's start with Chevy this time on your second runner-up.
Okay, so my runner-up for Game of the Year is Remnant 2.
Oh,
Fucking
I
solid.
think the game is the first game, but better. And if I had a criticism, which is hard for me because I like the system, but I understand that it's not the best vessel for storytelling. It's the storytelling of the game because it forces you to play multiple times to kind of like get bits and pieces of the lore. Now, I enjoyed that, but if you're looking for like someone to like just sit down and tell you a story, the game's not very good about that. So, but the gameplay is phenomenal. It has a lot of different choices in the way you play. The multi-classing system makes it a lot of fun as well. You can really kind of fine-tune what you want to do. The weapons are fun, unique with the different abilities and power-ups that also change the way your gear looks. The maps and enemies are a lot of fun, and then being able to replay and get like variations and different stories and stuff like that just kind of keeps it fresh. And then I'm just gonna put it in as like a addition to it. But the first DLC did come out this year alongside it as well. We haven't finished it yet, but so far it's pretty solid. So
It's fucking awesome. Like it feels like a little baby expansion.
yeah, love the game. I don't feel done with it, but there's always so much stuff to play that I have to like realistically put it aside. So, but I'd be playing it right now.
Yeah,
I love that game.
we gotta. That's fucking awesome to hear. We gotta beat the DLC though, and they're gonna be adding more DLCs as well. So the game's not even done, but I haven't even done like everything you can do in the game yet. So there's plenty of gameplay there. So yeah.
Yep.
All right, really good runner up. Who's gonna say something?
I said good pick.
Oh yeah, for sure.
yeah.
All right, so let's see. Who went second last time? Anyone remember? I don't remember.
I think it's
Chevy
Chevy.
went. Yeah. Chevy
Chevy.
did.
So let's go with Josh. What's your second runner up?
Second runner-up is going to be Final Fantasy 16. I take a look at that game and I realize like that's a masterclass in music and spectacle. There, like to this day, there's a couple points in the game, the music that I pull up on YouTube and I just listen to it because I'm like, holy shit, this is so fucking good. Which I mean isn't a big surprise. Thanks to that one guy, the composer who also, did the Final Fantasy 14 music. So, and Chevy's right. The story, in my opinion, it wasn't bad, but it did drag in a lot of places. That there's a couple places where I was like, and it always happened because it has a cadence. It has like a, little quests. Huge spectacle. Then it's kind of back to square zero again. Then quest. Huge spectacle. It's almost hard to drag yourself through those quests after you do the big spectacle because you're like, that was so fucking cool. I want more of that. But they can't just go balls to the wall at you 150 miles an hour. So, I understand having to do like the lull, but sometimes the lulls were like, all right, I'm a little bit done with this. They are adding DLC, even though they said they weren't. But it just must be, makes money, I assume. Which I'll be, which I mean, I don't know why I'm bitching considering I'm going to buy it. So, because I like being in that world. I think it's neat. I have a couple issues with it, but acting was top notch. The guy who played Clive, I honestly think should have been the game of the year, or was the voice actor for the Game Awards. He should have won it, I think. No offense to Neil Newbin, but
I mean, they were both great, but yeah, I also kind of lean towards Clive.
But yeah, I mean, it's just an awesome game, and I'm bummed you didn't finish it, Seth, because it's like it's hands down the most spectacle boss fights I've ever seen in a game ever.
Yeah, that's one thing when you were just talking about it that I thought about. And like this year had like so many big fucking awesome games, but like it didn't have like the God of War big spectacle epic type games that we typically expect. And Final Fantasy 16 is probably the biggest one up like that has these huge spectacles, because I didn't beat the game, but I forgot what the fuck they're called, the big bosses, icons. Yeah. The first and second one I think that I did, they were fucking awesome. Like the spectacle of them, the fight was awesome. The music accompanied with these insane visuals was like fucking huge feeling. Like and yeah, I didn't really get that from a lot of the games this year, because like Baldur's Gate is fantastic, but like it doesn't have these big epic fucking cinematic active fight scenes that are happening while you're playing that you get from like big AAA action games and shit, and Final Fantasy 16 easily has that. So yeah, I'm gonna play through and beat it at some point, because I was really enjoying it, but this year was just fucking rough for me.
I mean, even if you just mainline it,
yeah. Although Chevy says the side quests are really good, so
I think the side quests get better at the very end. The beginning side quests, other than the ones you do for the dog, I think the ones in the beginning are kind of, but towards the end, like some story gets involved with them, and I'm like, oh, okay, because like one of the first side quests you do is collect fucking dirt, and I'm like, all right, what the fuck, and then eventually they do start dealing with characters and their stories and stuff like that. And
a lot of them really expand upon the lore of the world. So,
well, yeah, and that's what it mostly is. That's mostly the reward, is just learning about the world,
which I thought was really cool. Definitely it definitely feels inspired by like Game of Thrones, but like it's got a really cool world that I really enjoy playing through, and all the characters seem really interesting and intermingled in that world. So yeah, the lore being expanded in a game like that definitely sounds cool. It's not a game I want to just rush through. So,
right.
Yeah.
The one thing that holds down though with what it does, those peaks and valleys, like you were saying, the gameplay is really fun. Like that combat's fun. So that kind of like every time I like the combat so much in that game that I would usually in games like that where I would kind of fight a couple things and then kind of go and do a mission. I found myself like if there's enemies, I was just like going and like just clearing an area of enemies, and it was fun. It didn't seem tedious too much to me anyway. But I like the fast-paced action of switching between I forgot what they're called, but when you switch between your icons and your attacks and stuff, and they're all pretty different, but the combos are crazy. You can do a lot of crazy shit in that game. But it's fun.
Yeah. I gotta beat it. Did you beat it, Cody?
No.
Okay.
No, I'm pretty far. I'm pretty far alone, still, but it's fun. It's still downloaded.
Need you to beat 14 as well.
That's a bigger game. I'm paying for it. I should just hop in. Every month it's like, hey, we're taking money from you. I'm like, okay, I like you, so that's fine.
Yeah.
Anything else on that? All right.
Sorry.
All right. Let's go with Cody. What's your second runner-up?
Okay, my second runner-up is put a lot of time into this one. Street Fighter 6.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and it's my second runner up. I have a love-hate thing with these games because I crack out on them and I get to, the higher tiers of multiplayer of multiplayer, and then I get my ass kicked so much that I just fucking uninstall it, and then it's like I hit a wall, and then I like reinstall it, want to do it again, and then all these. It's one of those games that it's just like I said, love-hate thing. It's just I love them so much and learning, but my brain can only cram in so many combos that I'm just like, look, I just have to take a break.
Yeah.
But it did so much for fighting games this year. I mean, Evo is huge. I mean, it's a thing again, and it just feels right because usually Street Fighter is the forefront of that for the most part. Them and Tekken. But I would say Street Fighter has taken it, to a new level and gotten everybody excited for fighting games again. So more people are looking forward to Tekken 8 and all these games. But yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah, it's awesome. I saw some people saying that that Mortal Kombat 1 deserved the award this year, and for me, I'm just like almost subjective, not even subjective, objectively, I'm like, no, like I'm not even a big Street Fighter guy. But like what Street Fighter did for fighting games, it set the new standard. Like like if you're not making this, you're not making a AAA fighting game. Regardless of how I feel about the combat in Street Fighter, and that's just a Street Fighter thing, and it's fine. It's just not my preference. The quality in every regard of Street Fighter 6 is fucking phenomenal. It is the best fighting game of 2023 easily, and again for the genre, it set a new standard that Tekken 8 looks like it's gonna meet hopefully, but. If you don't make something like this, like if Soul Calibur comes out, the next one, and it's nothing like what they're doing with these games, it's gonna fucking fall behind because it's just too good what they're offering now with fighting games, and that's important. The genre needs to evolve, and Street Fighter 6 did that. Mortal Kombat, I haven't played it, but from what I've seen, it just looks like a better version of what they've been doing. But Street Fighter 6 is really like a huge jump for Street Fighter, but also, like I said, it's setting the standard of what a AAA fighting game should be. They really thought about every regard of like community, single player, all that shit. It offers a lot, and so yeah, Tekken 8 has to bring it as well. And it seems like they're going to do something really similar to it. So I see a lot of people having to do these hubs online, the quality, putting effort into storyline. So it has to be a AAA high quality suite of content, and that's Street Fighter 6 setting that standard. So absolutely the best fighting game of the year, like easily.
Yep. And I think they're doing a really. It just goes to show. It came out pretty early. When did it come out? I think summer, maybe right before summer.
Sounds about
was
right.
It June?
Yeah, it was like mid-year.
No, I say it was June 20th or something like that.
And they released 2 characters this year.
These fucking dates.
Yeah, there you go, dude. It's 2 characters that come out this year. I know they're just adding a bunch more, but they're all new characters too. So they're like a little bit, there's just there's some that kind of feel familiar, but they're just different enough. But then you have old classic, you have Zangief, you have your Blancas and all those people, but they all have a new touch on them as well. So I'm kind of looking forward to see if they do bring back, I want to see Vega. I want to see Bison. I want to see, they might not, but. Huh? Yeah,
I was bummed to not see Vega.
Yeah.
That's the thing is the original 4 bosses have been like staples almost as much as Ryu and Ken and all them. So it's like I was almost like, where the fuck are they at? When I first booted up the game, I was like, what the fuck? There's no like Sagat or,
which is my boy.
Balrog or anything like that. Like,
yeah.
I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
Which I think is a little bit part of the storyline too. Like there's some that are, which, they try to work in where it's like this person's derived from Bison in this way or whatever. So they try to do some, cute stuff with it. But I feel like they're just going to eventually bring those characters in like 5. Mm-hmm. And they did 5. They just eventually just had like a whole roster of fighters. Well, with Super and all those other ones.
I think in the like in the storyline, Shadowloo, which is what M. Bison is leader of, they're like dismantled and gone. So like it's safe to say that they shouldn't even be there anymore.
Right.
They shall be gone. But I I think it'd be a shame if you didn't bring those characters back and give them the touch that Street Fighter 6 has given so many other like great characters. So it'd suck in my honest opinion.
I think they're going the route of like Third Strike and Third Strike, and then like some of the oddball characters, because they just added the chick that has like the poison, and she's very like, you know, slinky and slides on the floor and is just very like has awkward movement, which is cool to see. It's just a little bit different. Just give it its own, you know, a rehash on an old flavor. But yeah, so I just put in a lot of time, and like I said, just for the pure the simple fact that what it did for fighting games, and Evo was just huge. Like I watched Evo, which was crazy. I was like, I forgot how like fun it is just to watch people play fighting games.
Oh yeah,
and you know, it's just I just sit there and watch that shit all day,
especially at that high level.
Yep.
Oh
you know,
yeah,
like
I mean Justin Wong's, like all these guys that are just like legends, and you're just like, these guys are still playing these games. They're still good.
There's a Justin Wong video, I think it was him, a legendary Ken and Chung fight. Like that is a legendary fucking video, and you can't really get, you know, you're not seeing that in Call of Duty or Counter Strike or anything like that. Like the amount of like technical prowess that he had to have to literally perfect block the lightning kick super and then come back with a super of his own is fucking insane. So that's like crazy. That's next level.
Yep.
Yeah,
next fucking level.
This game is like that too, because there are the parries and stuff like that, so you do have that like quick timing, and that's where it's just like, I don't have that. Like after a certain while, I'm just like, you know what I mean? My brain, like I said, my brain can only handle so much. So, but it's fun, and I'd like to just play the arcade mode and just hop in, and that's always fun too. But overall, just a great game, great soundtrack, great everything, great graphics, great characters. Yep.
Yeah.
Plus that Streets of Rage mode where you wander the city and fucking you're just fighting the shit out of people in Metro City. I forgot about that.
That's right. It's like the I forgot to even mention that. Yeah, like the whole like open world, you know,
final fight.
Yeah, kind of thing. And it's pretty unique. And you can character creation, you can make your own characters, and they're ridiculous.
It's funny how you didn't mention that, because you're such a like fucking competitive fighting people online fucking moongooner about it. Like fucking you're like, you're so into that like, yeah, you it's almost like you forgot it even had a fucking single player, because like,
I totally forgot about that.
which
I didn't really touch too much on, but it's to see, like, especially when you're rolling into a hub and you see like how wild people look, it's just almost like you're rolling into like a Second Life server, and you walk in and you're just like, what the hell is going on? There's just people playing. Something. Yeah, exactly. But super fun game though. Yeah,
Tekken 8's got something similar to that I think is pretty cool looking, but it's a little more like chibi looking or whatever, but it's pretty cool. Anything else?
No.
All right, I think I'm the only one left. All right, so my second runner-up, pretty close to Phantom Liberty, is Remnant 2. Remnant 2 is one of the best games I played in 2023, and there's a lot of the best games I played in 2023, but it stands out for me. I am a huge fan of the original Remnant, and seeing this game come out and get the praise I feel like the first game should have got, it has been fantastic. Like Chevy said, and we've said a shitload of times on the show, it improves on Remnant in every way and doesn't have any negatives in terms of like evolving from the last game. It is a tight shooter. It feels so fucking good as a shooter, and I love shooters of all kinds, first person, all that stuff. And as a co-op shooter, it just is a really great time to play with friends. Great variety in equipment, build potential, weapons, upgrades. One of the best things about Remnant, and this one does it really well, is just the amount of like fucking unique items and secrets all over the game. They added classes to this one, which I was a little worried they might make it a little too different from the last game, where you had this freedom to kind of build how you wanted your character. It doesn't take away from it at all. It just kind of feels like you're you're a little more unique in how you're playing this, but you can switch at any time, and that you can have two classes at once is fucking awesome. Really good system where you can kind of mix and match and get more build potential out of your character than you could in the last game because of these abilities they've added. It also did a really good job on bringing a lot of the shit from the first game back, and not like a lazy way, just like, hey, you liked that from the last game, it's in this game as well. But on top of that, we also added a shitload of content as well. The locations are much more varied, much more interesting. The game isn't as short as the first game, which was the biggest problem with the first game. It's a very short game that I played over and over and over again. This one I haven't played as many times over and over again because there's just so much more to it. Every zone has so many random things that might spawn this time that you're just really combing these fucking maps to try and look for everything. Has plenty of difficulty settings. The challenges are there. The last boss can go fuck itself. So rough, but I beat it, and it felt fantastic to beat that boss, because there was a second there, just like a Dark Souls game, where I was like, can you beat this? I don't think you can beat this, but people have, so I can do it. And I did it. I'm like, okay, I beat it. Cool. It gave me that feeling of like, you can't do this. This is impossible. And then you do it and you're like, holy shit, dude. The support of the game so far has been amazing. They've been really good about supporting in terms of like patching it, balancing, all that stuff. But also the DLC that came out in 2023, so it's part of the whole package, is awesome. We still need to beat it. I think we're like at the fucking end. But it's such a creative and smart way to do DLC, because it's not an expansion, but it feels close to expansion. But they're just adding more locations to locations they already have in the game. And that does sound at first like, well, it'd be cool if we got a whole new world. But this location at least is so different than the rest of the world, while still feeling like it's part of that world, that I would love for them to just keep expanding the zones they already have, because they're already so varied, so interesting, so different, that expanding on them just makes them feel even cooler. And that the DLC is story focused, has a story it tells, is fucking awesome too. I'm so excited for them to do the same treatment to the other worlds and possibly add new ones, but we'll see how they support it. I know they are for sure doing 3 DLCs, and we have one of the 3 now. This dev has had shown potential for so long, and with this game, it's just kind of solidified. Like, I was like, those motherfuckers know how to make a game, and they made this even better. I'm like, yeah, dude, like, whatever they make in the future, I'll be buying, just because of how solid this game is. Love Remnant 2. It's, when I look back at 2023 and the games that like I just thought were solid across the board, and just love Remnant 2, I got like no complaints with it. I do agree that the story is kind of a weaker element to it, but like you said, it's going to affect people differently. I don't mind it so much, but it is the weakest element of the game, and I'll take a weaker way to tell a story over gameplay any day, because the gameplay is fucking solid, and it's multiplayer, it's co-op. It has awesome bosses, imaginative stuff going on in it that really surprised me. A lot of surprises in this game. I don't think I played another game that had as many surprises in it as this one. And the gameplay is just fucking... There's not really a better feeling shooter I've played this year than it. I mean, Resident Evil 4 also feels great, but it doesn't feel better. Remnant 2 is just like top tier in terms of gameplay when it comes to shooting. So fucking love it. And yeah. In a different year, it might have been my game of the year, but it's not this year. But it's close. Really good.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah. All right. So that is every runner-up, I think. So we'll jump into our game of the year for 2023. I want to do a special shout out to Sarah. She couldn't make it to this episode, but she wanted me to let everybody know that her game of the year is Baldur's Gate 3. And I believe her when she says that. When we were like discussing her being on the show, I was like, so she was like, I don't even know what games I played this year. And I'm like, well, I already know your game of the year. And I like looked over, and she's playing Baldur's Gate 3, and she just looked at me, and I was like, you've been playing this game for like 2 months straight.
Gotta be. Yeah.
Like, you won't stop playing it. And so, yeah, like the last 2 months, she's just been fucking cracking out on it. So, yeah, so kind of want to throw that out there. Not a big surprise, but that is her game of the year. And it's a good one, because I think it's a lot of people's game of the year. So,
Right.
With that being said, Josh, do you want to start us off with your game of the year for 2023?
Well, Sarah and I are of very like mind because mine is Baldur's Gate 3 also. I mean, just for starters, I have 192 hours in this game.
Damn.
100 of them was in Act 1 with multiple different characters and combos and stuff like that, because there's always something new to find. There's always a new way to deal with something. And then you open up TikTok, and then there's another 15 ways to deal with that same situation that you thought you had a unique way to deal with. On top of that, the voice acting is top notch. I think the storytelling gets a little rushed around Act 3, but
I've heard that.
But I think they spent so long in early access they were able to massage the first couple acts, and then Act 3 they're like, "Fuck, we got to get this game out."
Mm-hmm.
Though with every update, they're doing the Elden Ring thing where they're just adding like voice dialogue and storylines and stuff like that. I think they just added a couple endings for Karlach, or they're going to one of the two. It really makes you care about your party members. Kind of reminds me of the days of old of like Mass Effect, where you like gave a shit. It wasn't just like, they're expendable, whatever. You know, they felt like living, breathing people, and like your choices do, you know, change them from like a religious zealot into something a little bit, you know, ascended than that, or, you know, with Lizelle and her dogmatic, like racistness, I guess is a good way to put it. How Githyanki are the best thing ever, and everything else is fucking garbage, and you suck, and you know you're lucky I don't kill you, and blah blah blah, and then you know like you're able to actually form opinions of these characters just by the actions you do, which is really kind of cool. It kind of gives you it's like a little reward, you know, like seeing your story unfold. I think it's the classes are all fun and unique. I've played every single one but Bard. I've never really cared about Bards.
Heard good things.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think Bards kind of again, don't get out the pitchforks. I just think Bards just have become like a meme lately, and I'm just like, all right, yeah, I get it. A Bard, who gives a shit? Because everybody thinks fucking toss a coin to your Witcher. But Bards could be like good storytellers, not just fucking dudes with big dicks or whatever. So, but every other class is awesome. Even like the three casters are even different, which is nice. Warlock, sorcerer, and wizard are all different.
Mm-hmm.
My personal favorite's druid, which is weird because I don't play caster classes in almost anything. But I do get to transform into a bear and just sit on the front lines and beat the fucking shit out of anything that comes in my way. So, you know, that was fun.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just being able to kind of like live and breathe in this world that is very much fleshed out and has its own rules, and you just get kind of engrossed in it. It's nothing short to me of Game of the Year material, and that's why it sits as my number one.
Definitely understandable. I do think, regardless of anybody's personal picks for Game of the Year, I think the Game of the Year for 2023 is Baldur's Gate 3, for all the things you mentioned, but also just as kind of a symbol in gaming of what a good dev who's dedicated and ambitious can achieve, not even with the help of, you know, a fucking AAA publisher. It's a phenomenal game, and it created the biggest splash and discussion of 2023. So yeah, it makes complete sense to me. So yeah. Anything else?
Nope.
All right, let's go with Cody. What is your Game of the Year for 2023?
Mine is, I mean, honestly, Baldur's Gate would be mine, but I'm pretty early on in the game and I just got it. But I can already tell I'm going to lose a lot of time into this game because how Josh was saying, that I am totally the same way when it comes, like, I am going to create more than one character. I'm playing also don't really play casters in games like that, but I'm playing a warlock. It took me a long freaking time to even make my character. The customization is ridiculous. I mean, it's crazy.
It's weird. I don't really like playing casters in games, but in like turn-based games like that, I fucking love playing casters. It's almost like because you're rolling the dice and like when you hit, you fucking hit hard, but when you don't, you're like fucking. It's almost like gambling, and I hate gambling. But like, yeah, with other classes, you know, it feels a little more consistent, except for with like rogues, you want to get that fucking crit hit. But yeah, with magic users, like when you get like that long range hit and just murder a dude and they go flying or whatever, it's so satisfying.
Oh yeah, and I'm picking like the moves that I have too. There's just like one where it's like it'll make the person fall on the ground. They just uncontrollably laugh.
Oh yeah,
like whatever it is, do that. So I have a lot of attacks like that, and it just kind of makes it's just unique. But it's a big game with lots and like. Literally every corner has something, and if you walk past it, you're just gonna miss something. So I'm just kind of like circling around and just keep like talking to different people. And
that's my biggest problem with the game. For like me trying to play all these games, and it's hard for me to stick to one game for too long. Is I play that game, and there's just so much fucking shit to interact with and do and find every like 10 feet. Someone's like, hey, come over here. And I'm like, this is going to be a whole fucking storyline in itself. Like, whatever the hell you're going to tell me is going to be a whole thing. And then I walk somewhere and it's like, what's that over there? And then you walk in and there's like a fucking crack in a wall. And all of a sudden you're in this giant tomb. And you're like, okay. Like, it's not a casual game. Like, you got to dedicate time to it. And that's hard for me. But now that I've beaten a bunch of games, I can put that time into it. And it is our game of the month, so we will be playing it this month. But
great.
Yeah, there's just so much to that game. It's so dense. It's so deep with content. It's rough.
Yeah, it's this whole thing. That's what I'm saying. So it would definitely, you know, I understand why it is the game of the month or game of the year.
It's both.
And it just deserves, well, there you go. And but it deserves everything like that. But my game of the year, which I you know, it's 2 remakes and 2 games by Capcom in my list, but Resident Evil 4.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So Resident Evil 4
it's
is straight up what you want a remake to be. Like, I thought that I would have been tired of the remakes already. Especially in Resident Evil, like one of my favorite series of all time. But this one is just like nails it. It's amazing. It's like, you know, props up all the silliness of the original and kind of makes it its own thing. It's basically like rebuilt from the ground up. So it really just feels so good. I'm actually about halfway through the Separate Ways DLC, and that's different. And yeah, it's just amazing. It's, you know, pretty hard game, but it's very, you know, very arcadey, you know, just like the original, and just walking around fucking drop kicking zombies, and it just feels so snappy and good. But yeah, 2 remakes, and yeah,
dude, Resident Evil 4 is so good.
Yeah,
the remake, like I fucking, it's just like Dead Space. Like kind of different though. I love Resident Evil, and it slowly, it's weird. I went through this like when I was younger. I like loved Nine Inch Nails, and eventually I was like, I don't really like them anymore. And then like as I got older, I'm like, what the fuck am I talking about? It's like one of my favorite bands ever. Like I just kind of realized. Same thing with Resident Evil. When I was a kid, I fucking loved Resident Evil, and then it got to this weird point where I'm like, it's getting kind of weak. I think they're kind of fucking it up. And now I'm like, no, I think Resident Evil is probably one of my favorite series ever. Like there's more games than not that I love. But having played Resident Evil 4 so many times when I was younger, I was like, yeah, I'll wait. It's a fucking remake. I'll wait to play it, like, you know, at some point. And so I waited into the year. It had been out for like months. And I was like, yeah, I got some time. I should just see if it's any good or not. And like, I couldn't stop fucking playing it. I was so hooked to it. I'm like, this game is too good. The fucking shooting's too good. The all the things they added to make it more interesting, like the upgrades to your weapons and like
Right.
the amount of weapons, the unlocks, how they kept the game so authentic to the original while also adding like so much more to it to make it into this bigger game. All the things they did change, I think, are for the better, like some of the character models, some of the people that you meet throughout the game. A lot of the ridiculousness is there without being cartoony anymore. It
Right.
just kind of acknowledges that, we're a little loose here, we're having fun, but also this isn't like ridiculous like the original one was. They made all these like all the decisions they decided to make to change things were all better. They were good decisions they made. Like whoever was in charge of fucking making this game, their team did a great job on like respecting the fuck out of this game and improving in every single way. I just like Resident Evil Village, which is also fucking phenomenal. I just want to keep replaying it, but I'm like, I got other games I got to play, but like it's so fun to play. And like you and me are very similar. Like we both love horror, we both love shooters. We both like darker stuff. So like it's like fuck it. I was telling Chevy when I was playing Resident Evil 4 at work, I was like, I think survival horror games is like some of my favorite fucking games out there, man. Like the formula is and especially where they're at now. They're so good. They're fucking great shooters. They feel good. They have the stress that I like, that low key stress that I'm always like on edge, but also the satisfaction of when you find that extra fucking magazine or you're running out low on ammo. And Resident Evil 4 does its whole system of like running low but finding ammo constantly. It's so addicting.
Yeah.
And then the enemies that are really tough at first, you get like weapons that could just like fucking destroy them now. It's so fucking satisfying. It's like the perfect formula for me. And Resident Evil 4 really made me remember just how much I love these kind of games. So yeah, it's fucking fantastic. It's just funny because like I was literally like, it's Resident Evil 4. Like, everybody loves Resident Evil 4. The game's legendary. But then I played it, I'm like, no, I was fucking wrong. This game is so good.
Well, it has a good place because I'd make a joke that I have 2 remakes in my list, but we're in a good place where we can do that now, and we're not gonna not get those. So it's nice to know that they're doing it well.
Yeah.
And so it kind of makes me feel good about 5 if they end up doing 5, or it seems like they have a good formula. Yeah, it seems like they have a good formula with doing like the Village or 7, then Village, and then we have 2, and then 3 that come out, and then they're pacing it really well. But just to know that they're doing it well, like are actually doing it well, then it's just like, well, they're gonna do it anyway. So I'm glad they're doing it right.
Yeah, the Resident Evil 2 remake was fucking phenomenal.
It's still one of my favorite games. I still play it all the time.
Yeah, it's so good. I really want them to do the original Resident Evil. Even 0 would be cool. 5 would be cool.
You brought that up. Yeah, you brought that up a while ago. The original would be very fun to do
as a third-person shooter.
I always forget about the remaster, but that's completely different. Yeah, this like from the ground up from the first one would be amazing.
When people are always like, "Oh, they already remade Resident Evil," I'm like, "Yeah, back for the GameCube, same time Resident Evil 4 came out." So if time is an argument, you can't win that.
About time.
Like it's an old game.
Exactly.
And what they're doing now with the third person shooters, Resident Evil's never been like that. So I want to walk through the fucking Spencer Mansion in third person. Like that'd be fucking awesome.
Right.
And then 5, they could correct so many wrongs with 5, remaking it.
Right.
And 6. I mean, 6. A lot of people think the story's super convoluted. I agree. But the gameplay I thought was pretty good.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah. And had co-op. Fucking, can we get some co-op remakes? That'd be sick.
And that's what this game kind of did too. When I was playing it, I was like, this game would be so fun.
Oh co-op. Yeah. Where's that mod?
So I'm like, exactly. So, but yeah, fantastic game. I mean, like I said, keep doing them if you're going to do them right. And they've got it so far. I think the one hiccup was 3. And it was just that it was short, and it just kind of gets repetitive. But I mean, the original was kind of like that too. So, But
yeah, 3 I didn't beat. I just wasn't getting hooked on. But I don't like the original 3 that much either. So
same.
And then I saw so many people complaining about it that I'm like, maybe I'll get back to it at some point. But everybody's like, you could beat it in 3 hours. I'm like, I'm not beating that game in 3 hours. But yeah, I get it. I can't believe any game would be 3 hours long, especially a game like that. But somebody really was adamant about letting me know, like, no, you can definitely beat it in 3 hours. I'm like, I'm not speed running it. So, no, Resident Evil. I said Final Fantasy. Resident Evil 4 is definitely. I humored putting in my top 3. because of just how good it was, but I wanted to because it is a remake and it's a fantastic remake built from the ground up. But there's other ones I wanted to highlight more. But it's top 5 for me.
Like still needs to be shout out.
Yeah, it's fucking good. I loved it. I'm gonna go back and play it again. Like it's just such a good game. So
yeah.
All right. Anything else?
No.
All right. I'll go next, and then Chevy can go last. Okay. My game of the year, personal pick, is Alan Wake 2. I want to throw the caveat out there that I acknowledge that Baldur's Gate 3, in my opinion, is the game of the year. But for me personally, Alan Wake 2 is my game of the year. It might have changed if I played and beaten Baldur's Gate 3, but I haven't done that. So if that does change my mind after I beat it, I will let you guys know on a Taste Cast in the future. But as of right now, Alan Wake 2 was my favorite game of 2023. I'm a huge fan of Remedy. Everything they've made, I think, is fantastic. I've loved watching their evolution and what they do with their games. All third-person shooters, but very story-heavy. You got to think a little bit about what they're offering you in their stories. Gameplay in terms of a shooter is always really tight, very satisfying. Always very interesting mechanics, from the bolt time with Max Payne up to control, being able to move things with your mind or whatever, and even fucking Quantum Break and in Alan Wake 2, the whole light system that comes back from the first game. I have to be careful talking about this because I don't want to talk about the story at all. People should experience it for themselves, and a lot of people seem to be playing it right now, which is awesome to see. Alan Wake 2, first off, is probably graphically one of the best games I've seen, but design-wise is easily one of the best-looking games I've ever seen in my life. I'm a little biased because some of it takes place in the Pacific Northwest in Washington, and it's the only game that I think has captured that rainforest vibe that we got here. A lot of games just like put trees everywhere. It's like, yeah, kind of, but like there's like this like whole vibe to a rainforest that's different than just like a normal woods, and I think they capture that with amazing detail, beautiful lighting, and just this fucking gorgeously eerie setting that's phenomenal. And then another part of the game takes place in basically like a very urban New York looking place, and that's also equally as amazing looking in its detail and its atmosphere, and just the design is it's like whatever the fuck these guys make next, if they're doing stuff at this quality now, I would buy it anyway because I love Remedy, but it's just like leading the pack in what they're doing with their visual fidelity. It's insane. The story of Alan Wake 2 is great. I love the original Alan Wake, and I love the story and the way it ended. This one, I think, carries that story forward in a very, in a lot of ways, unexpected. There was an element of the story that I kind of predicted early on, which kind of sucked, but didn't ruin the story, but I just kind of caught it early. But it has a lot of twists and turns, a lot of cerebral stuff going on that you got to think about. The whole mechanic of going to the mind place or kind of writing Alan Wake's story in real time is something I've never seen in a game. And I think what I originally thought was it was going to distract from the game too much, and it was going to be like a puzzle where like you're enjoying the flow of the game, all of a sudden you got to stop and think about some shit you don't want to think about. It actually enhances the game in a way I've never seen a game be enhanced lore-wise. To in real time be discussing and figuring out elements of what's happening in the story. And that making the story progress forward, especially with Alan Wake's side of the story, where you are literally changing everything around him through his writing, is so fucking cool, so smart, so unique, that it's such a standout. The gameplay, I saw somebody, and it still bothers me. I'm bringing it up now. Somebody was like, "You don't play Alan Wake for the gameplay; you play for the story." And I'm like, I like the gameplay. I think it's fucking awesome. Yeah. Some people don't like the flashlight mechanic. That's to each their own. That they laid more into the survival horror elements of this game made the flashlight feel even more of like a great mechanic, whereas before it was kind of like, oh, it's a cool thing you're doing. Here it adds to the tension of all your encounters. There's less enemies in this one than in Alan Wake, but the enemies in this are more of an event now. When you run into them, you're on like 2 to 3 dudes, and it's like super fucking stressful with what's going on with your flashlight, with your ammo, with the environment. It's really cool to see them take and carry forward what they did with the first game and change it in a way that still feels respectful to the last game, but also take it in a new direction that I think is a better direction in terms of everything. But like, in regards to the flashlight mechanic, the gameplay, the shooting, the guns are all really fun. Good variety, more than I thought we'd get in that game. And the way, I won't say anything about it, but the way you upgrade your weapons is really interesting too. It's not what you expect from like a Resident Evil 4, where you're just like, you get a currency, you upgrade your shit, it's awesome. In this, you're a little more involved with having to get your upgrades. And so I think that's really interesting. And I would have went back and played it when I beat it, but to get all my upgrades, but New Game Plus wasn't out yet, which was kind of a shame, but I'll go back and play it for that now. And I hear it's not just New Game Plus. They did like some really creative stuff with it. So that's really cool to hear too. Alan Wake as a character, I love, his character, the depth of him, the performances are fantastic, but also in a game that you're expecting more Alan Wake, they introduce a whole other ass character who takes up 50% of the game called Saga, and I think she's a good character too. I think she's written really well. Her whole story unfolding alongside Alan Wake's story and how they intermingle and connect is really smart, and I think they did it in a really good way. And yeah, it's just in a year full of fucking bangers, absolute bangers. There's too many good games this year. Alan Wake, when I think about it, is the one that like stands out the most to me. I didn't put as much time into it as some of the games that you can just play endlessly, but playing through it, it impacted me the most. It had the hardest hit. I beat it, and I was like, holy fuck, dude, that was really good. And now that they've added the New Game Plus, I will be going back and playing again because now I have a reason to. I didn't want to start over again and not have my upgrades, because there's a standard to survival horror games now where you can play through again and continue forward with your progress while still experiencing the story. That's great, and I wanted that, so I'm glad they added it. And yeah, it's a fantastic game, and I recommend it to everybody. It's definitely, in my opinion, personally, my favorite game of 2023. Chevy.
Honestly, I probably would keep it kind of short because kind of the to be expected answer, I think. My game of the year is Baldur's Gate 3. Even just to give a little background, my first game that made me want to own a PC was Baldur's Gate 2. So I already kind of have a history with this type of game. I love this kind of game. Even going into like Dragon Age Inquisition, and not even necessarily the same type of game, but similar formulas, Mass Effect games, for example. I like this kind of formula, and I for a long time there was bummed out that they were gone or like simplified overly so. And then Baldur's Gate 3 came out and showed me that you can have a modern game that has all these systems and really deep, complex pathing and just like smart choices. There's things you can do in the game you would never expect them to actually do because they didn't have to. No one's doing it, right? Like you can convince someone, you can do a quest, you can turn in an item, then you can turn around and you can steal that item. They will comment on the fact that the item's gone. You can meet them later, put the item on the ground. They'll recognize the item and talk about it. Like,
yeah, it's insane.
Why? Like, it's awesome that they did that. They didn't have to.
Yeah, it's funny the way you mentioned that you didn't think there's really room for a game like this nowadays, and not only did they prove that, yeah, there is room for it, but like there was like no modern standard for the genre, and then they came in and just without competition except for themselves with fucking Divinity. We're just saying,
last of it, yeah.
They fucking just blew it out of the water and raised the standard to the point where if you want to make a game like this in a AAA sense, like you got a big fucking standard you got to meet. It's crazy. Yeah. Like they put so much effort into this game, and not even just for the genre. It's just surprising it is this genre, but like for any fucking genre, like anybody putting this much work into a game faithfully like that is fucking insane.
Yeah, unrealistically, so I'd say I wouldn't expect the next like Western RPG to be as in depth. But
Yeah.
I do think it should be a goal for a lot of companies.
Mhm.
I'm not gonna be surprised if it isn't. Right? I'm not gonna
Oh yeah.
necessarily hold them to that because I also realize dev cycle wise,
Yep.
they would never release these games. So,
Yep.
but yeah, I love the game. I'd like to play it more. I'm going to get the chance to this month, fortunately.
Hell yeah.
One of the, I don't want to say downside, but one of the things with this channel, obviously, is we have to play so many games that it makes it hard to find time for long games like this. And so I am looking forward to getting just more gameplay in, because it's one of those games I feel like for a lot of people will be just the next 10 years they'll still be playing this game the way people play
easily.
Skyrim still and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's fantastic. Or Elden Ring. Elden Ring's one of those games that people are just going to be playing and playing and playing and playing. So yeah, it's a fantastic game. I am a little bummed out that the people that helped make it possible no longer work for Hasbro, because who knows what that means for the future of Baldur's Gate 3. But Larry, in general, whatever the next game is, I'll definitely be keeping an eye out. So.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, if you another modern example would be Pillars of Eternity 2.
Yeah.
I beat that game a couple years ago, I'd say, and it was fucking good. It was very harkening back to those old text-based tactical games like that. So I think Baldur's Gate 2 was it was real-time combat, wasn't it? But it was just did the thing, or was it tactical?
It was turn-based.
It had you hit. I think it was spacebar. You could pause basically.
Okay, yeah, because
Dragon Age is basically that formula. If you remember how Dragon Age played.
Yeah, Pillars of Eternity 2 is the same, and you could it gave you a choice, that or tactics mode.
Yeah,
but that was also one of those games where I was like, oh shit, there's a lot here. So if you're looking for stuff to play, that's like Baldur's Gate 3.
I gotta play more Baldur's Gate 3 anyways, but I also it's a good suggestion for sure. But we also didn't finish Solasta either. So
shout out to fucking Solasta. Yeah. It's like the dollar store version of Baldur's Gate 3, and I don't mean that as an insult. It's fucking fantastic.
Yeah, it just has the rules of D&D, but since they didn't do it with Hasbro, they're just
it's just the D20 system.
Yeah, they made a D&D game unofficially, and it's really good. And the potential of being able to make your own campaigns and stuff is fucking awesome.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, if you played Baldur's Gate 3 and you want more of that on PC, check out Solasta. So. But
yeah,
Baldur's Gate 3,
back and play
sure.
that.
I think everyone's already heard about it a million times at this point. So
yeah,
there is a reason for that.
Yeah, kind of expected everybody to pick Baldur's Gate 3, so which I would be okay with, but obviously, because like I said, I think it's the game of the year. But glad to hear some variety as well, because we've talked about Baldur's Gate ad nauseum, and I want to hear everybody's opinion on it, but we all kind of know why it's so good at this point. So yeah,
right,
yeah, solid game.
Yep.
Huh?
Yep.
That's it. Okay. All right. So all good picks. Really enjoyed that. I'm going to be doing some shout outs to the games I think need to be shouted out this year. If you guys have anything you guys want to throw in there as well. I know you probably didn't prepare a list, but if something comes to mind, go ahead and throw it in there as well. But my shout outs go to Baldur's Gate 3, of course, because like I said, it's the best game of the year, I think, all around in many ways for many people. And so definitely is the shout out. Armored Core 6, I am devastated that I didn't beat. And be able to even humor putting it on my top 3, because from what I have played, I fucking love it. I just playing too many games, don't have enough time, but I'll go back and play it at some point. But that From Software made fucking Armored Core 6 is awesome, and I think they did a great job with it. Wild Hearts is probably one of my favorite games of the year. I fucking loved it. So yeah, I would love to see more support for it, or even Wild Hearts 2. And it's sad that we're not going to get that probably. Next shout out is Dead Space. It's one of my favorite games of the year, easily, and it turned me into a huge Dead Space fan. So much so that I would love to see a Dead Space 2 remake. I'd like to see them completely remake and refix Dead Space 3, because that's the game that killed the series. Yeah, Dead Space was just like such a fucking blast to play. So good. Shout out to the fucking forgotten game of 2023 that everyone retroactively pretends no one liked, but not true. Hogwarts Legacy, I think, got fucking dishonored horribly this year. I'm not even like a Harry Potter guy. I played the game for 10 hours, and I'll go back and play it at some point. But the game's high quality. It's the fucking dream. If you're a Harry Potter fan, this was the game you were fucking hoping for. Outside of a lot of people are like, I wish it had multiplayer. Yeah, me too. But that doesn't take away from what the hell they did with this game. It's the fucking Harry Potter game you want. So and it came out early.
Old Call of Duty.
Yeah. I mean, like people
it's
act
the
like
number one best-selling game.
Yeah, people act like fucking wasn't that great. Not when it came out. No one was saying that shit.
People were hyped on it in the beginning of the year. I don't give a fuck what anyone says. People were hyped on it.
And I feel like it got forgotten, and I feel like a lot of people was like, fuck it. And, it got like no noms. It's like, what the hell, dude? And you could tell the people who made it were like so fucking passionate about Harry Potter. It's crazy. This wasn't made by people trying to make a quick buck. These were fucking Harry Potter fans that made this shit. So it's crazy. Next shout out, akin to Dead Space as being one of my favorite games of 2023, easily Resident Evil 4. We were talked about it, but it's fucking so good. I'm so upset I waited to play it, but then when I played it like 1.5 times, like really quick. I couldn't stop playing it, and if I start playing again, I'll get hooked again. One that I think a lot of us are gonna kind of agree on, but I want to shout out because it doesn't really belong in like the top 5, but it's definitely a really great game that we should play more, and that is Age of Wonders 4 that came out in 2023, and it's fucking awesome. I love that game. For anyone who doesn't know, it's basically a fantasy civilization game, and it's really fucking good. So for a little bit there, we were playing it quite a bit, and really enjoyed it. So next shout out is Hi-Fi Rush. I love Tango Gameworks. I love every game that they've made, and in my opinion, Tango Gameworks with Hi-Fi Rush made the best Xbox exclusive game of 2023. With games like Redfall and Starfield and shit, Hi-Fi Rush came out and everyone liked it. And they should, because it's a super charming, creative, and fun game to play. And I'd like to go back and beat it, but it's just super fucking solid. And it's a positive for Xbox, but it's also another positive for Tango Gameworks. I can't wait for whatever the fuck they make next. Final Fantasy 16, shout out. Haven't beaten it, but from what I've played, it's really fucking good. And it's really cool to see so many people adamant about how it should have gotten more recognition in 2023 for just being one of the best games of 2023. I will play it and beat it at some point, but what I've played so far has been really good. This is a personal shout out. I think a lot of people probably won't agree with me on this, but slowly I see people more and more saying they like this game, Lords of the Fallen. It's fucking awesome. I like had a couple issues with performance when it came out, but like as a Dark Souls style game, it offers enough to stand on its own. It's not just, even though it does feel a lot like, the original Dark Souls, the Umbral system is so fucking cool. The level design is awesome. The combat's awesome. The world is super dark, and playing it co-op is a blast. And it doesn't have like a weird system. You just have someone join you and you play. It's fucking cool. I'd like to see more Souls-like games come out with just no bullshit co-op, please, because it's just fun, and I like fun, and you can make that challenging still. Shout out to Street Fighter 6, best fighting game of 2023 easily, and we already went over it, but set the standard moving forward, and I don't envy anybody making a fighting game in the AAA realm and trying to compete with it, because it's going to be tough, because they really set the bar high. Shout out to Marvel Spider-Man 2. This is a game I waited to play. Had no priority to play it anytime soon, because I was like, I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna like it. It's gonna be good. I'm playing it now, and when I do play it, I'm just fucking enjoying myself. It's just a fun ass game. It's very well made. The performances are fantastic. The graphics are great. The gameplay's fucking solid. And And yeah, it's just a really good game. I get why people, even though I don't think it's a game of year material this year or 2023, I get why people, if you really fucking love Spider-Man, you love that gameplay, that's probably your favorite game of 2023 easily. Shout out to Party Animals, fun little game that I think is a blast and stands. It took the place of fucking Gang Beasts, which somebody had to, and I think they did it better. I mean, the amount of content, the variety of levels, the fun of the whole game and the visual style, super fucking solid. I really would like to play Party Animals again. Shout out to a game that I feel like in a different year I would have considered putting in maybe my top 3, which is weird. Dave the Diver. It's not an indie game. We already had that conversation, but it is a fucking solid game. People started looking at Dave the Diver almost like it was like a villain because it was like snuck into that indie nom area. But once I played it, I'm like, no. We can have the conversation that doesn't belong to in this category, but also acknowledge that this is a fucking good game. Like Dave the Diver is like a really, like it was completely not on my radar. I played it and I was like, this game's really good. Like it's super ambitious for what it is. The quality is super high. And you can tell, like, people with a budget and know-how made this game. It looks like an indie game, but you play and you're like, nah, there's too much to this game. Like, it's like a full-ass game. So, yeah, Dave the Diver gets a shout-out. Next shout-out, because it did release this year. I know it's been out longer, but 1.0 came out in 2023. RoboQuest. RoboQuest fucking surprised the shit out of me. It's, like, one of the most solid first-person roguelites I've, like, ever played. It's so fucking fun. The unlocks are awesome, the secrets, all that shit. When me and Josh played it, like we really fucking cracked out on it, and I would like to go back and play it. But deserves a shout out because it really kind of blew my mind. BattleBit Remastered gets a shout out because it's the big surprise of like 3 dudes making a game that is not only comparable to Battlefield, but in some ways is giving people what they want from Battlefield better than Battlefield can, which is fucking pathetic for DICE. I'm just throwing it out there. I know 2020 or 2042 is in a better place now, but we're not having that discussion with BattleBit Remastered. It came out, it looks goofy, but the amount of content, the amount of ambition, the amount of knowing what people want from Battlefield and giving it to them, I was like fucking so impressed when I played BattleBit Remastered. I was like, this is insane that 3 people did this. So gets a shout out, special shout out to my current addiction, the Finals. It is also one of the best competitive shooters of 2023. Big surprise for me with how much I enjoy it. So into the gameplay itself of it, and it definitely deserves a shout out. It's free to play. A lot of times with free to play games, I kind of play it a little bit and I leave. I'm still playing it, like 50 hours in. So I got 3 more left. Next shout out is a little janky, but I think it deserves a shout out. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I think is a fun attempt at the Dead by Daylight formula with some similarities but some big differences, with the killers being a whole team. I think adds a whole new flavor to the genre that Dead by Daylight can't offer you, and with its jank, with the fucking crazy problems I've dealt with that game that made it unplayable for me, I still think it's fun, and when it works, it's
still on your mention list. That's crazy.
Huh?
So after all that,
yep.
It's still on your mention list after that.
Because when it works, it's fun.
Right.
So it's I like what they did with that.
Wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it gets a shout out.
A new killer.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw that. I want to check it out. It's cool they're still adding stuff. I saw some new skins too that they've added. So yeah, we'll have to catch up with that game. Last two. Shout out to the Outlast Trials. I fucking really like this game.
Yeah.
It's a awesome cooperative horror game with perks, progression, really interesting systems, arm wrestling in the lobby, social systems you wouldn't expect from a fucking cooperative horror game. Really fun trials, a really cool way to do group horror, which is hard to do. And when I originally saw that they're going to turn a single player Outlast game into a multiplayer game, I'm like, it's not going to have the same feeling. It does. It feels like Outlast. It feels like a proper Outlast game. So just without that big crazy story, but it's awesome. And then my last shout out for 2023, because it did release in 1.0 this year, is Ready or Not. Ready or Not is the Tom Clancy tactical game that Ubisoft refuses to make, made by a small dev who just keeps making the game better and better and better. It's a fucking awesome game to play with friends. Really stressful, almost a horror game in itself. And with the new 1.0 that came out, patch and increasing the AI on the on your team in crazy ways that AAA games aren't even doing, I think it deserves a shout out. So, yeah, you guys got any shout outs I didn't mention?
You said my two, which is Dave the Diver and Spider-Man 2.
You have anything to say on them?
I think that Dave the Diver is a beautiful game. Just not necessarily just visually, but just kind of like spiritually, I guess is a good way to put it. Just because you're kind of like just chilling in the ocean and just, I mean, you're murdering shit all over the place.
It's a vibe,
but like,
dude.
It's just like, yeah, it's like super chill. The music's really fucking good. Boss battles are, kind of fun. It might be one of the weakest points of the game, but I still found them
I like
enjoyable.
that they're not hard. I like that they're just more spectacle than anything.
Mm-hmm. And then it seems like every fucking day someone just rolls up in their boat and just unlocks something new for you to do.
Yep.
And it's just like, okay, dude. And then the next day sometimes like, all right,
that
dude.
was blowing my
next
mind
day
as I was
something
playing.
happens.
I'm like, this game's growing every couple of days. Something new gets introduced, and I'm like, this game's huge.
That doesn't stop.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, like, even before beating the game, it still was unlocking stuff, and I'm like, bro, like, fucking please, like, I'm just trying to fucking. I had high hopes of getting all the fish and whatever the fuck, and like, and the Pokemon thing, and I was just like, all right, I can't anymore.
Yeah, that game's
I just
designed
needed
for you
to
just
get
like
done.
not to leave it. Like, you just keep playing.
Yeah.
We got a bunch of shit you can do here. You don't got to go anywhere else.
Yeah, and how it's split up to where you can. When you dive at night, it's dangerous as fuck. I got killed almost instantly one time.
Yeah, it's
But,
sketchy down there.
But then working the bar or working the restaurant, which just kind of becomes like almost an afterthought once you train your people up enough. And
Yeah.
I was
But I like
pretty much there
that
just
you have to earn that, because like at first you are running back and forth and doing that shit, and then you start getting these people trained up, and now it starts kind of automating, and it feels good. You're like, okay, I'm building this restaurant up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I was just pretty much there to fucking serve cocktails and goddamn cut wasabi. But and then that adds another restaurant, and like, maybe spoiler alert, my bad. So yeah, it's just goes and goes and goes and goes. So you can obviously tell this is very much not an indie game.
Yeah.
Because there's a shitload of money in this, and it shows. It doesn't really short shrift you in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, these
and
people
that's
had a
why
meeting at some point. They're like, who's made the best diving / sushi restaurant simulator out there? Because we got to do that. We're going to do that. And then they did it.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, luckily you don't have any competition, but you kind of did the Street Fighter 6 thing, and you kind of raised the bar so high. Just like Baldur's Gate 3. You're the Baldur's Gate 3 of fucking sushi diving games.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's beating you anytime soon. So
Yeah, and then just with like the Hades kind of opening and replay, just every time you return, it's just something new's happening. And then
yeah, it's kind of a
Spider-Man
roguelike,
2. Yeah, and Spider-Man 2. It's just fucking a solid ass game.
Yeah.
It was one of those games. It was one of those games I actually would have like platinumed. But at the very end, it's like you need to kill so many people with his fucking spider arms or something like that, and I'm like, I ain't doing that shit. So like, I missed out on 2 achievements, and that was those killing people with a certain move, and
killing people.
But other than that, okay, I'm just gonna put this to bed like right now. When fucking I'm doing stealth, and I'm standing on a pipe, and he webs them up and then slams their face into the pipe, you're done. What are you doing?
I went out of my way in our Spider-Man 2 review. Go and watch it if you haven't. Look for this footage, because I put it on there on purpose. I fucking was fighting a dude and I just decked him into a fire and he was laying in there and I'm like, is he dead? And like he slowly got up, and as he came out of the fire, I positioned myself to knock him right back into the fire, and I fucking punched him in his face and just dropped him in the fire, and he's just laying in there just burning. And I'm like, he's dead. Spider-Man kills. I did it. You make excuses all day like, well, there's web. But yeah, when I punched him fucking 150 miles per hour off the building and then G-force whipped him into the side of the fucking building. Yeah, he lived. But this fire, indisputable. He's burning.
Yeah. Well, when you lift people down and, slam them into fucking the concrete like they got hit by a truck, like they're alive, but their quality of life, we all know, is fucked up.
If they lived, it's not great. But yeah, this dude can pick up cars and he's punching you in the face. So
yeah,
he's pulling his punches quite a bit, if not.
And I thought the acting in it was really solid. There's some parts where like Yuri Lowenthal like acted his fucking ass off. Like he gets like very emotional, and like there's times he's just fucking screaming and going nuts, and like I'm like, well, goddamn, like he did it, like he was just awesome.
Yeah.
I still lament that they took him out and added that weird round face kid, but
oh, you're talking about the remodel of Peter Parker? Yeah.
Peter Parker.
Yeah, I like the original design better.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that, but other than that, like I'm going to be honest. I mean, like, I like playing as Miles. I just didn't think his missions were that good. Like, they're just kind of like, all right, like, you're fucking Spider-Man. You're trying to save a saxophone. Like, get the fuck out of here. Like, let's do something.
Kid, so.
Well, yeah, and like, I get that part. I just, it just seems like they gave him a lot of like back burner boilerplate missions. Instead of
he also got cucked a lot by Peter Parker because like there's like 4 missions where you're just like swinging around and you're hanging out with Harry doing your thing. No spoilers. I'm not gonna say anything more than that. Doing shit with your boy, and fucking randomly he'll just call and he's like, "Hey Pete, I got something I want to talk to you about." And like Pete's like, I can't talk right now. And he's like, "Oh, okay," and just hangs up. And it's like, damn, how many times are you going to accept that? Eventually be like, bro, we fucking save people's lives in the city. Take this shit fucking serious and talk to me because I'm trying to figure this shit out with you. Not just like put me on fucking hold and I'll talk to you later.
Yeah, we have a bond.
Yeah. Yeah, where's that at?
Spider bond.
Yeah. Yeah, there's only 2 Spider-Men on the fucking planet. How do we not have a bond?
What are the odds?
Yeah. And then I think the boss battles are a big improvement from the first one.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I do enjoy, like, it has one of the best openings in a game, I think. Almost
dude,
ever.
For sure.
The fight with Sandman.
People are so mixed on that.
I think
it was almost like a tutorial though. It's like getting back into it, then you're like, oh, okay, and then make it into this big spectacle.
Yeah.
But it was cool.
And then I think adding Brooklyn just added just the right amount with the extra traversal you got with the wings and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't, it didn't feel too big, which was nice. I think they really just dialed it in.
One of my favorite things about the game, and there's a lot of things to favor because it's just awesome, but I love the view distance and crowd density. It makes the city feel so alive. I literally, I don't know if I put it in my footage or not, but I literally like went on foot. I was doing it to kind of troll. I don't know if I put it in the review or not, but I was going to like walk to every fucking objective, like just like normal pace. And I did for like about 20, 30 minutes. I was like, I got to stop this, driving me nuts. But I was just walking through the sidewalks, and anytime the fucking the crosswalk light was red, I would like wait with the crowd. And then like when it went green, I would walk across or whatever. And like it's interesting to watch the traffic actually stop and like obey the traffic laws, and people are like waiting for these crosswalks and stuff. And I was like, this feels like an alive city. They did a really good job, and you're never going to notice that because you're just fucking flying around swinging and shit. But like I was just so like, being weird about the tech. I was like, this is kind of neat that they did this much work for something that I think a lot of people don't even give a fuck about. So
well, yeah, and the density, the traffic density.
Yep.
I noticed that a lot of people swinging. I look down and it's just packed.
Yeah,
with all sorts of shit in the road, and I was like, what the fuck?
honking their horns and shit. Yeah.
There's like people in back
Yeah,
seats of
there's
cars
a-
and stuff too. You don't need to do that. You can just have a driver, but there's like people in the
Right.
car.
Yeah, it reminded me of because in the first one you get above like the city, you get above like the rooftops,
Mhm.
and it was just quiet.
Yeah, it's weird.
It was
I
just,
hated that.
you can just hear just nothing,
Yeah,
and they really improved that in this one.
cities have like a really strong ambient sound, so it's like just like that air and fucking beep beep and all these sounds and shit. And like you get to a certain point in that game, it's just silent. It's like, where'd the city go? It's just up here in the fucking dead zone.
Yeah, I also thought the villains were good. I thought they were pretty decent. I did like Venom. I liked Craven the Hunter. I thought they were like legitimate, like threats. So it was that was probably one of my favorite games of the year was Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, I was surprised it wasn't in your top 3.
It's just an enjoyable fucking romp.
Is it in your top 5?
Hmm?
Is it in your top 5?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And the round out my top 5 was Dave the Diver and Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, that's fair.
So, but yeah, those are the only 2 games I got.
Any other shout outs?
I mean, I would just echo Dave the Diver. The game is completely addictive.
It's funny when I played that just to check it out so I could talk about it. As soon as I fucking played it, I was like, everybody needs to play this. Everyone's going to like this game. And I later like hit up Josh. I'm like, have you played Dave the Diver yet? And he's like, no, it ain't good. I'm like, yeah, dude, check it out. And then with you, I'm like, this game's better than it should be. Like, check it out. And even Sarah, I don't think she's played it, but I was like, have you played Dave the Diver yet? She's like, no. I'm like, you need to. You'll like it. I already know you'll like it. Like, I think most people like that game.
You told me to play it too. You're trying to get everybody.
Good.
I was just like, people gotta play this. It's like an everybody game.
Yeah, for sure.
It just kind of offers a lot too. The problem with that though is it's hard to shut it off because you always have something to do.
I literally forced myself to stop playing it because I was gonna keep playing it. I was like, I gotta play Cyberpunk. I gotta beat games. I gotta beat Resident Evil 4. And I knew it wasn't gonna be my game of the year, so that's why I stopped playing it. But it's fucking awesome.
Solid ass game.
Yeah.
And then Super Mario RPG remake.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't do anything necessarily new, but it is clean. It plays great, and the nostalgia was absolutely wonderful. So I'm almost done with it. I took a break, but I'm pretty much at the end. So it's not a very long game or hard, but it's fun.
I'm glad you brought that up because I heard a lot of people praising it. So
it's great. I mean, if you love the original one, it's literally that. Except for if you look at a screenshot side by side, holy crap!
That's how I felt with Resident Evil 4, dude. I was playing. I'm like, this is a pretty good looking representation of the original game, and I looked at them side by side. I'm like, oh my god, this is a huge upgrade.
Just the its character, the facial stuff is just like, well, obviously, that you're just like, wow, it makes a difference.
Yeah, it's huge.
I was gonna say Switch sometimes does that thing with games where I'm like, there's like a sweet spot that it hits. And like Super Mario RPG hits that fucking sweet spot. You're like, this is a clean ass, cool fucking game. I think Yoshi's Yarn World or whatever the fuck.
I didn't play it, but I saw it. Yeah,
but yeah, like that was another one of those like super just clean fucking like super cartoony looking games that just look really fucking good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and somehow Nintendo nails that over and over and over again.
They're good at it. Any other shoutouts?
I didn't play it, but I was wondering if you guys did. But to talk about Nintendo, did you get any of you guys play Super Mario Wonder?
No, but I heard it's fucking awesome.
Yeah,
I'm not a big platformer fan, so it's hard to sell me on a Mario game.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I just know I'm not gonna like if somebody had it, like I could play it, I would. But the idea of buying it and playing it, and I would like to try it, but like it's not a game I'm gonna stick with. The same as like other games that are more in my wheelhouse. So like it was just kind of more of a decision I had to make. As much as I'm curious about it, I just know I'm not gonna put the time into it.
Well, it's like it's platformer. It's not like Odyssey or anything like that. So it goes back to that. But I did
it's got
hear
like
good
4-player
things.
co-op too, which is fucking cool.
Oh yeah, right.
So that'd be cool.
Yeah,
a lot of people say it's like
good.
the spiritual successor to fucking Super Mario World, which is one of the best Mario games ever made. So
Yeah, I was gonna say, I guess it's like good co-op. It's not like that fucking shitty. There's that one for the Wii.
New Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah, and you can
Yeah,
like
that sucks.
pick each other up and huck each other off the fucking map.
Is that
and,
the
like,
2.5D one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't mind that too
Yeah.
much, but it kind of felt like that fucking. It kind of felt like oh god, there's that. Oh no, Little Big World one, similar.
Little Big Planet.
Little Big Planet, yeah, whatever the fuck it's called.
Mm-hmm.
Those kind of games are kind of neat, but the perspective I'm not a big fan of.
Mm-hmm.
So
I have a shout out, but it's a disappointment.
I got a disappointment list I want to run through. So
Okay.
if everyone's done with shout outs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. This is the last segment. We'll end it here soon because we're at 3 hours. You want to go first, or do you want to hear my list?
Oh, I was gonna say mine's really short and easy.
Yeah, go ahead.
And I'll give you one guess. Starfield. I just cannot fucking enjoy this game, and I'm not saying it's bad.
Dude.
It's just, I don't know. I know what makes Bethesda, and that's not them anymore. And maybe that's just the whole thing. That's not who they are anymore, and that really fucking sucks.
Like BioWare, like Konami.
AI is running it now.
Hey, you sound like a Blizzard fan right now.
Blizzard.
I would say playing 6 hours today of a fucking game that came out 12 fucking years ago.
Yeah.
And I was having a better time
Yeah.
than a fucking than a just a right out the gate first person shooter. It's just, I'm sorry. It's not good. Like, I'll die on this hill and give a fuck.
I think a lot of people are on that hill with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We're all catching a lot of fucking flack too. But I just, Bethesda lost it.
Bunker on that
and
hill, dude.
Bethesda lost it, and that sucks. And the more I play their older games, the more that like I'm really starting to understand that, and the more my dislike of Starfield becomes more deep seated.
You know that picture of Mr. Incredible, where it's black and white and half his face is dark. He just looks fucking devastated. Anytime I think about like Morrowind, and then I see what they're making now, that's me. I just accept it, but I'm like, that's fucking sucks, dude.
Yeah.
Because like the Elder Scrolls world, I fucking love. Like it's such a cool fantasy world, and Morrowind doesn't feel like D&D. It's fantasy, but it doesn't feel like D&D, and so many other ones out there do feel like D&D. And it's fucking dark as shit. Like deals with like slavery and all sorts of like drug stuff. Like it's fucking crazy. And then like it turned into like, you know, what it is now. And Skyrim is like, you know, we're playing it. I'm actually having fun with it now. But you know, what Bethesda has done is just like, you know, they've kind of lost that unique edge to them. So
yeah, there's just it's a complexity thing. It seems like Morrowind was infinitely more complex than Skyrim is, even though it came out, you know, 10 years before.
Yeah.
Only because like
Skyrim's more complex than fucking Starfield. Starfield's a looter shooter basically.
Yeah, and
with ships.
Because like in Skyrim, you could see it. Like everything's leveled, and once you get past a certain level, then people start dropping better shit. You equip that shit. You just move up and up and up and up,
Yeah,
and then you can just put your points into everything. So you just become fucking Superman, and it's boring. There's literally no reason ever to start a new character to like try to play and role play something different.
Yeah, you're making a superhero. You're not making like a character build.
Yeah, and Fallout 4 did the same things, and Starfield's doing the same thing. It doesn't give me any reason to like make a build to enjoy the strengths of my character and understand its weaknesses. It's just because you can be everything. So you
I
have no
honestly don't
weakness.
even know if I had a fucking build in Starfield. I was just shooting shit. I don't.
Yeah,
Is there perks in that game? I don't even remember anymore.
Yeah,
I just got
Yeah,
guns and
I
shot
mean-
shit.
yeah. I mean, it has pretty much the same thing as
Yeah.
Skyrim. It's
Yeah,
just
I don't even
trees and
remember.
you just-
I don't even remember the build that
Yeah.
I made.
Yeah, it's just trees, and a lot of them are interesting, but like when you can just get them all, then nothing fucking matters. So, I know this is a rant about Bethesda in general, but
Yeah.
one of my hands down biggest disappointment is Starfield.
Yeah, that's fair. I got a list of 10 games I'll go through pretty quick, but I'm going to call this duds and disappointments. I'm calling it duds and disappointments because a couple of these games I didn't play. But I don't think you can make a case for them being good because of how they're received. I'll make the case for that right now. So Skull Island, Rise of Kong. It's fucking ridiculous. That game even came out in 2023. Luckily, it got forgotten about because it was followed up by the other dud of 2023, The Walking Dead Destinies, which I almost bought because it looked so fucking crazy. Like I was watching, I was like, how did anybody make that game? That's fucking nuts. Like there's a part where
is that boss battle against Rick where Shane's just shooting,
they're just shooting the shit out of each other. And it's like what the fuck is this? And then like the cutscenes are like motion pictures. Like it's like The Walking Dead made plenty of money. What are you doing? Like why? Who the fuck did this?
Right.
So yeah, those are two duds that I don't think you can make a case for. Another dud as well for this year was Lord of the Rings Gollum. I thought the game was like shit before it ever fucking came out. And then it came out and like people were like talking about how they made it in like fucking 6 months and like there's like AI shit used for it, like all sorts of stuff. It just sounded like someone had to keep the property fucking brand alive and just pumped it out for nefarious reasons. It's probably a fucking money laundering scheme. I don't know, but there's no legitimacy to that game. And no one asked for it. When they're like, it's a stealth Gollum game, it's like, who the fuck wanted that? Who asked? Who the fuck asked? Another dud. It's not quite a disappointment because I didn't have any expectations for it, but I would have preferred it be good. But Silent Hill Ascension, which was a mobile interactive thing, where they had episodes come out and you got to choose the outcomes, it's fucking horrendous. So Konami, if this is
come out,
huh?
I didn't realize it had come out.
Yeah, I watched the first 3 episodes, and it was like, this is Silent Hill. It's just a bunch of fucking people having stupid conversations while people are going, I saw the mist monster. And then like people are like, oh, mom died. How'd she die? And the dad's like, don't ask. And then they find some pills on the ground. It's like, do you think he killed her? Or do you think there was an accident? Do you think he meant it? I'm like, I don't give a fuck about what the fuck are you asking me for? This is stupid. So yeah, that was a huge dud and not a disappointment because again, I have no expectations from Konami, but this is not a good start, Konami. So get your shit together. Okay, so let's see. Gray Hill Incident was a huge dud. That was a game I actually wanted to play, and then it came out and I saw gameplay, and it's basically you walk around beating the shit out of fucking little gray men, or they suck you off and kill you. I mean, that's like the whole fucking game. They just walk up and you're and you see the top of their head, and then you start taking damage and you shake them off.
That you get on Steam if you're an adult only.
Yeah. They should. That's why they released that feature where you can hide it, dude. Yeah, I was like, there's so much potential with like a fucking first-person shooter survival style game with aliens. That'd be cool. I was looking forward to it, and then I watched gameplay. I'm like, no, they really fucking did not do this right. The Day Before, huge dud. I don't think it's a disappointment because I don't think most people were excited for it. But let me tell you, it took me like a month to recover my brain from the fucking dumbass conversation around that game when it came out. But huge dud. And it's ridiculous that even happened. But yeah, The Day Before, huge dud. Disappointment, also dud. Forspoken. Forspoken, I know people liked it. It's fine. I'm not talking shit to anybody who enjoyed it, but this is a game that the dialogue was atrocious, but I ended up playing it, the demo, and it was actually kind of fun, but not good enough for me to have to pick it up. Also, performance wasn't awesome, but when it came out, it got largely panned and a lot of criticisms towards it. So a huge dud. And kind of sad because the team that worked on it was the same team that I think worked on Final Fantasy 15, and they got shut down. They got absorbed. They got shut down, but the people still have jobs. But yeah, Forspoken killed that dev. So that sucks. Okay, so one of the biggest fucking duds of 2023 was Redfall. This is a game I was skeptical on before it came out because it looked kind of basic. And then it came out and it was a fucking mess. Super janky, AI was broken, guns, damage output was shit, super buggy. And it created this whole fight because and not talking shit about anybody who's like pro any console, but like there's a lot of people expecting this game to be fucking huge, and it came out and it was just kind of like there's no way to defend the game. It was like embarrassing that they even released the game like that, so much so that Phil Spencer looked like he wanted to self-terminate over the release of that game. So really, really bad dud and disappointment for some, probably. It might be in a better place now, but that game, I think you should just fucking salvage what you can and fucking move on to the next thing. Dud slash, it's not a dud, but disappointment, Starfield. I liked Starfield. I didn't love Starfield. But seeing the reception of Starfield was the disappointment for me. I thought the game was fine. I didn't hate it, but I also am not playing anymore. I have no reason to go back and play it. But I saw so much and still hear so much negativity about that game, and I get it. I get where they're coming from. I get where Josh is coming from. I don't 100% agree, but I get his criticisms for sure. And that's like a very standard talking point. Super disappointing for Xbox, for Bethesda, for anybody who was still holding on to Bethesda making great games and just thought this was going to revolutionize everything. It didn't, but I think it's fine. But yeah, it's not the best Bethesda can do. They could do better than this for sure. So huge disappointment, mainly because of the reception of the game. It sucked to see that. And then my last, it's not a dud because it made money, but disappointment is Diablo 4. Another game that came out that I was like, I might try it. Played the beta, wasn't impressed with it. Looks great, gameplay wise was fine. People disagreed with me on that for sure, and that's fine. But when it came out, season 1 was a fucking disaster. So many people who are pro the game became negative about the game. So much so that Blizzard, when season 1 came out, started talking about season 2. They're like, season 2 is coming, and it's like, whoa, that's not a good sign. Where you got to start talking about your next season when your first season just released. That's kind of crazy. And anyone I know who still plays Diablo 4, none of them know if they actually like the game or not. I talk to people and they're like, I don't even know if I like this game. I'm just kind of playing it. I'm like, that's not good. So yeah, that for me is a disappointment.
I've had similar discussions too with people I know who play it.
Yeah,
like at work and shit. And they're just like, I don't know why I'm still playing this game.
It's
I'm
the
like,
Blizzard relationship. It's like, wow.
Well, right, yeah, when they're WoW players. So
yep, they're like upset with Blizzard, but they want something good from Blizzard, so they just keep fucking playing. And yeah, hopefully Diablo 4's gotten into a better place, but it was shocking to see fucking the reception of that game, because I thought I was going to be like the one guy who was plenty of people, but like, just like, it's not for me. It's fine. If you guys enjoy it. But season 1, people were like, this is garbage. Like, this is what you're bringing to the table. Especially with like Path of Exile 2 coming out and
exactly
all sorts of shit that's going to like really up the game. Like it's kind of crazy that Blizzard and Bethesda, couldn't knock those out of the park. There's no excuse. Like, not one. They have every fucking resource and ability to make a better game than anybody else within those genres, and they didn't even make games that people praised mostly. So it's kind of just disappointing. So yeah, that's my list of disappointments and duds because of some of the games I didn't play. You guys have anything you want to mention before we wrap this up for disappointments or duds?
No, I think covered all of them.
All right,
a good chunk.
Yeah. Well, overall, 2023 was an awesome year in gaming. I think everyone agrees on that. A bunch of fantastic games and so many games that came out that we got that many, for me personally, disappointments. It's kind of crazy. So, let's hope that 2024 is a great year in gaming as well. A lot of games to look forward to. I'd like to do a video at some point kind of talking about the games coming out this year. But that'll be a different episode. Do you guys have anything you want to say before we wrap it up?
It's been fun.
Good year for games, like you said. I mean, it's great to be a game. I mean, like you said earlier, that this next year is probably not going to be as much, but we need a kind of a breather. There's a lot of games we need to cover. Cover into this next year. Yeah. So
I do want to mention the weird discourse that happened when Baldur's Gate 3 launched, and a lot of devs were like, "Don't judge our game."
Yeah.
Don't let Baldur's Gate 3 be the bar. I'm like, you guys are fucking pussies. Like, what the fuck? Like,
so dumb. Yeah.
Yeah. It was pathetic.
Yeah.
I had very few people.
Set the standard.
I got like really good views over on TikTok over that topic. And I had like less than like 2% of people who are like defending that talking point. So most people are like, what are you talking about? Like what? And people are like, well, it's just one guy. I'm like, no, one guy brought it up and a bunch of people fucking piggybacked off him, including indie people and fucking AAA. That just tells me all these people are worried that Baldur's Gate is going to be good. It might win Game of the Year. Well, fucking, you're right. It did, because they made a great game. You could do that too.
Yeah.
And they're like,
And
well, people are going to expect
standard.
indie games to have to do this. Like nobody
It wouldn't
expects
even
that.
been a talking point if people wouldn't have said anything.
Exactly. That
Right.
was my original thing. I was like, why the fuck is this even being discussed? I was almost upset
Yeah.
that I'm even having to talk about this. This is so ridiculous. But it was a conversation, so I was like, fuck, I guess I gotta have an opinion on it because it's fucking stupid. But most people are just like, boo hoo. No one expects that from indie and AAA. No one gives a fuck. Make better games.
Yeah.
Right. You can do it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It was just fucking that whole thing. I was like, why are you sandbagging your own fucking talent? Like,
yeah.
how insulted would you be to work at that guy's studio? You know,
It's so insecure
Like,
to
yeah.
like say, even bring that up. Yeah, that and like the day
Fucking
before
crazy.
discussions this year have been like two of the most mind-numbing gaming topics I've ever fucking had to think about.
oh, you mean the day before the game that doesn't exist?
Yeah.
Oh, it
Yeah.
doesn't anymore.
I mean, that's
Well, yeah,
fair, but
well,
it
it's
was
still
there.
up. It's getting shut down, but yeah, it's still up. It's not fake for a little bit. Yeah, dumb. Yeah. I assume nothing else.
Mm-mm.
No.
All right. Well, thank you guys for joining me for this long conversation. It was a good one.
Oh,
I'm glad
yeah.
we got to talk about our just the games we enjoyed this year. It was a great year and good picks for everything. Runners up in Game of the Years. So yeah, thank you Chevy for joining me. Thank you Josh for joining me. Thank you Cody for joining me. Thank you guys for joining us for this conversation. Stay tuned. We'll have more episodes coming out soon. I do want to do a best month of PlayStation Plus like we did 2 years ago because we didn't do it in 2023, sadly. So hopefully I can get maybe you guys to come back for that. That'd be fun.
Sure.
And yeah, all the stuff is down below. If you want to check out TikTok and our Discord and all that stuff, support us on Patreon, all that stuff. I'm tired. So yeah, until the next episode, have a good one, guys, and take it easy.